A full 60-second timeout. Cougar foul, number 10, Sydney Freeman, her third, team sixth. Oakhill foul, 33, Adriana Trexler, her second, team fifth. Rebound bucket.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Across the state of Indiana, it is semi-state time. Welcome to Ames Field for this 5A semi-state game between Zionsville, the Eagles of Zionsville under Coach Scott Turnquist, and Michigan City, the Wolves, under Phil Mason. Alongside Tim Fedler, I'm Sam Michael. Tim, these two teams represent pretty similar challenges to each other. Both have a good running game, though a little bit different, as Michigan City has a two-headed monster. And then both teams have quarterbacks that will spread it out. So true spread-type offense is more of what we see on Saturdays across the country than what we are used to seeing on Fridays, but two really talented teams.
Yeah, typically in high school sports, you see a lot more option, whether it's out of the triple option, whether it's out of the spread and a lot of RPO stuff. But it doesn't appear that we're going to get a lot of that today with these drop-back quarterbacks. For Zionsville, they'll run the ball with two guys, but it's not the split system that you'll get out of Michigan City. Gage Bankert has ran the ball 102 times on the year for 553 yards compared to Colin Price's 226 for 1656. So Colin Price, obviously the guy that Michigan City will need to key on, and that's going to be Jeremiah Newsom is who defensive coordinator Roy Richards is going to count on today. He talked earlier this week. Newsom's the guy that whether it's a passing team or a running team, he's the one to spy either the opposing team's quarterback or the opposing team's running back. And he's the difference maker back there playing safety for the Wolves. So keep an eye on number 18 and what they decide to take away. Are they going to try and take away the passing game of Zionsville and the two different quarterbacks that we expect to see out there with Abney and Murphy? Or is he going to focus more on stopping Price, forcing Zionsville to put the ball up in the air?
Not that these teams are shocked to be here. You never say that. When you make it to semi-state, it is probably a goal you had coming into this season. But a lot of people probably thought Michigan City would fall last week to Valpo, a team that had beat them during the regular season and beat them really pretty comfortably by 3 touchdowns back on September 10th. But obviously Michigan City became a team at the end of the season that was in a better position to win that game last week, and they're able to do so in overtime. For Zionsville, again, not that they are a bad football team or shock the world, a Cinderella, but losing 5 games this year, a lot of teams don't lose 5 games during the regular season and still make it to the semi-state level, albeit those games against the likes of Westville, Franklin Central, Hamilton Southeastern, Brownsburg, and Fishers. So 6A teams that they lost to, pretty good, a tough schedule that Coach Turnquist is playing, and here they are matching up against each other.
This is a Zionsville team that for the second year in a row comes into postseason play with a 4-5 record, and they made it all the way to the state finals last year before falling to Cathedral. So as Sam alluded to, they play a very tough schedule, and we got a fumble here off the snap, or off the kickoff.
And it was fumbled right there by Cameron Bell, and the officials digging in there. They'll be challenged right off the bat. The ball's around the 20. If Zionsville has it, they're in great shape, but Michigan City comes away with it. So they're fortunate. They'll start with the football at their own 19-yard line. And we'll now see the quarterback, Luke Murphy, on the opposite side. And we'll see the quarterback here for Michigan City, Tyler Bush. Hartz and Anderson, Tim, we mentioned, the two-headed monsters. You'll have to watch. Is it number 19? Is it number 8? But a similar challenge either way.
Yeah, and before I stepped on your call of the kickoff there, yeah, Zionsville was 4-5 last year coming into the playoffs, 4-5 this year. Last year they were state runner-up. They play a very tough schedule, so it's a little misleading what that record is, but they certainly know how to get hot in the playoffs at the right time and trying to make their second straight trip to Lucas Oil.
Working out of the shotgun on first down, they will pitch it to the outside. Trying to use the speed this time of their backs and receivers. That's Amarian Hatch. And Hatch is still on his feet as he cuts it back to midfield. Now on the near sideline. Hatch is at the 50 and all the way down to the Zionsville 45 on a play that looked like it was going nowhere. It's a big one.
Well, that's speed you need to have to make a play like that, but just the vision. When everything was cut off on the left side of the field and he was able to see he had an opening, and then he had the speed necessary to turn it up and get over here. And I love the downfield block there by Tyler Bush, the Michigan City quarterback, getting out ahead, trying to free him up for a few extra yards.
It's a great play to start it if you're Michigan City. Again, it looked like Amarian Hatch, who had a really nice season for Michigan City, doing a number of things. It looked like he was going to be contained as they give it right up the middle here to Rayceon Anderson, and he gashes for 7.
Yeah, a huge hole right up the middle there as they now go with Anderson. So we've now seen both backs here on these first two, and maybe that's what we're going to get. Anderson up the middle, and then we'll get Hart on the outside.
Anderson probably more of the between the tackles carry, as you just said. Had about similar yardage, but he did it on 30 more carries. Quick pass to the outside here. This is complete. Again, it's Hatch. He's got the first down inside the 30. They'll move the chains on the completion.
Yeah, excuse me, I said Hart, but Hatch I meant. Yeah, right there, just getting the ball to the athlete out there on the flat. We caught the ball on the line of scrimmage and was pretty much one-on-one, just had to make a guy miss. So another quick first down for Michigan City, and the Zionsville coach is animated over on the sideline. He doesn't like something he sees, trying to get his defense's attention.
Michigan City had 3 guys right at 40 catches. Hatch was one of them. Came up just short, 39, but Giovanni Laurent and Traylon Simmons also over that 40 mark. Here is Rayceon Anderson on first down as he carries it to the 25-yard line.
So tough to prepare for when you have 2 running backs, especially ones that do completely different things, like Anderson and Hart, and what they're capable of doing. Like we said, Anderson going between the tackles. But you can't just key on one guy. They're going to send 2 guys at you, and that's going to keep them fresh throughout the ballgame.
Second down and 6 on this opening Michigan City drive. The big play so far came from a play that looked like it was going nowhere, and all of a sudden went for huge yardage. 35-yarder on one. Looked like they might lose about 5. Watch the play clock here for Michigan City. And Phil Mason has to help out his quarterback as he calls a timeout to avoid a delay of game. First timeout called in this one. And so far, Tim, Michigan City moving the ball well.
Yeah, and you got to have breaks. You got to have a little luck if you're going to make it to the state finals in high school football. We had the fumble on the opening kickoff that they were able to jump on. And then what you just alluded to, the first play from scrimmage, it looked like there was nothing there. And then Hatch was able to use his speed, reverse fields, get a big play. And now Michigan City is set up nicely. Second down and about 5 yards to go on the move, looking to put a score on the board here early in the ballgame. We'll see what they decide to do coming out of this timeout, as you hate to burn a timeout that early, but in the first half, early in the game, you want to make sure you have everything right. I'm more forgiving of burning timeouts in the first half than I would be, say, early in the third quarter when you might need them down the stretch. So Coach Mason wants to make sure he gets the right play call, and here we go.
On second down, it's Anderson. Able to get away from a block and carries a couple forward as he takes it for the first down. And they're in the red zone here.
Absolutely. Just straight handoff there out of the shotgun, and some good blocking on the right side of that offensive line. A couple of Zionsville defenders were going up high, wrapping up around the head, and they're going to have to hit this guy low if they want to bring Anderson down near the line of scrimmage.
See how tough he is to tackle right here. Was able to get away that time from Adam Longmire, one of the seniors on this defensive line, and he sets him up at the 18-yard line. Give here up the middle, carried for only a couple that time. It was covered up much better as they give it to Woodard on first down carry.
You know, that reminds me what we saw last week when we had the Lowell New Prairie game. There was guys who only had a handful of carries throughout the year that were getting the ball as they were going deep on the depth chart. Michigan City has 2 running backs that each have well over 100 carries, and they're going to Woodard, who that's his 10th carry on the year. So already mixing things up. We haven't seen Jaden Hart out there very much yet, at least not got a carry.
Hatch comes across the formation as they give it to him on the jet sweep. Blocker is out in front, but not much to work with, as again he's able to turn nothing into a little something. There was white jerseys for Zionsville all over the backfield as Hatch dives for 2.
Yeah, you see how elusive he is, keeping those feet moving a la Barry Sanders from the early 90s. It's going to be very tough to break down. You know, when we talk about Hatch, he had 26 carries on the year coming to this ball game for 277 yards. Jaden Hart, as I'm now starting to try to pay a little more attention, I have not seen him, I don't believe, on the field yet, looking on the sideline to see where he is. It seems like handful of games we've done this year where we get into, midway through the first quarter and we start looking for somebody we expected to see, and he's not been out there.
Big third down here. As they roll out Bush, he will lob it, looking end zone, and that is incomplete. He had 2 receivers there. Giovanni Laurent was involved in that, and Hatch was coming across your formation, and now a decision for Phil Mason. And it looks like he's sending out the special teamers. If he is, Andrew Olekshuk, the place kicker, comes on to try to make this a 3-0 game.
He's 3 for 3 on field goals on the year, and he has made 1, according to my stats, between 30 and 39. I don't see the exact yardage of what that was, but this one would be about a 31-yarder. Looks like that's exactly what it will be as the ball's on the 21.
Everything works. The kick just gets there. It hits the base of the field goal uprights against the crossbar, and it goes in. And a good start if you're a Michigan City fan, as they had the big carry to open it and the field goal to finish it off. As you see another look, if you didn't get to see it when it happened, Olekshuk just enough leg right there to make it 3-0 Michigan City. Opening quarter, 7:43 to play in our first frame. You are watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
I'm Matt Wolford, president of the IHSAA Foundation, and we need your help. We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to IHSAAfoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
You're good at making big announcements.
Trey Firestone back to receive this kick. Returnable at his own 10-yard line. Firestone hoping to make a play off this kickoff as he angles it back to the Michigan City sideline before he's shoved out of bounds. And about a 16-yard return, football at the 26. And we now get a chance to meet this Zionsville offense with Luke Murphy at the quarterback position. And we'll have to keep an eye on that, Tim, as we talked about. Abney, Christian Abney, the junior. Sounds like he was the starter from the folks at the beginning of the year, from the folks we talked to. And then ultimately had a little injury. Murphy took over, and since he came back healthy, they've kind of been going back and forth. So we'll have to keep an eye on both of those things.
Yeah, Murphy certainly played more on the year, threw the ball 176 times to Abney's 83. But they go back with Abney, the junior.
He gets the start, and he hands it off right up the middle on our first carry. Gage Bankerts to the 30-yard line.
Yeah, and it's a little two-headed monster you'll get from Zionsville. Not quite what we expect to see from Michigan City, but we have yet to see Jaden Hart down on the field. But Gage Banker will get a good share of the carries, and then it's going to be a heavy dose of Colin Price. And like I said pregame, keep an eye on number 18 for Michigan City. That's Jeremiah Newsome, and who he decides to key on throughout this game as he's lined up now over the left end. Looks like he might come in on the blitz.
On second down, it's another run as they work it again with Bankert in between the tackles. He takes it to the 34-yard line as he's picked up solid gainers on first and second, and it sets up 3rd and 2.
Jahari Branch, the first in there on the tackle, but Newsome, who started up on the left end, started shifting back toward the middle. So he's a guy I expect to be all around the ball tonight. He's probably going to look to key on the running game, as Roy Richards didn't give it away, obviously, when he was speaking earlier this week. But he just said, depending on if the team decides to pass or throw, Newsome is the guy to try to take that away.
Big third down here. You don't want to punt the ball on your opening possession. Zionsville will run it, looking for 2 yards, and the legs of Bankert still churning. Forward progress should have the marker, and it does as they move the chains.
Brought down by Newsome there, but right past the line of scrimmage. So huge first down for Zionsville. Great job on their defense to recover and hold Michigan City to a field goal after just getting into the red zone there. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on Michigan City because that looked about the distance that they're going to be able to make a field goal from. So if this game comes down to it, where they're going to need a field goal late in the fourth quarter. We know the range is going to be roughly around 30 yards.
And it is a windy evening, though it's not blowing in the face either way. Going to take a shot. Abney looking deep, and this is just out of the reach of his diving target, Wrigley Baumgartner. And he was asking for a flag that he will not get.
And a great pass by Abney, hanging in there in the pocket. You know, you love to see the NFL-style straight drop-back passer, especially of the pass that you don't see anymore. And he didn't look to roll. He held the pocket. He had Cornell Branch right in his face. It looked like along with Beckett was in there as well, the big defensive lineman. And he held in there well. He threw a great ball, just slightly out of the reach of his receiver. What was that, Baumgartner?
Mm-hmm. Sophomore receiver, Wrigley Baumgartner.
Hope I don't say Madison at some point.
I was going to say, he's got a very interesting name, no doubt about it. Abney, after his first pass attempt, incomplete. A big opening on the sideline. This time for Bankert, who has carried the load on this first drive. He'll be just short of a first down, 3rd and 1.
Great job there by Zionsville holding those blocks on the outside. It was actually Michigan City that had outside positioning. If you look at that, they had 3 or 4 guys on the outside there. They just couldn't shake those blocks to get over there in time. But, you know, here we go for Michigan City. Their first drive, we did not see Jaden Hart, and we expected to see a heavy dose of Colin Price in this game, and we have not called his name yet, number 33. I don't believe I've seen him on the field unless I've missed him line up at a wideout spot.
That's become a theme in games we've done this year. 3rd down and short. And Bankert a big hole, and now he's got a big run. He's inside the 30 before he is wrestled out of bounds. He needed 1, and he goes for 20+. Finally pushed out there by Cameron Bell.
Just some tremendous blocking. Joey Tenona right there on the line of scrimmage. Joe Williams, some big offensive linemen were able just to create a huge hole, and it was easy for Bankert just to kind of follow right behind him and then turn on the speed. So Zionsville looking to answer, as it looks like Michigan City's going to have a hard time containing this run game, and Zionsville's going to be able to mix in the pass just enough maybe to keep this defense off balance.
2 receivers to the right of Abney, and you saw the big hit on the play fake. Abney kept it himself, but Bankert got absolutely smoked. His mouthpiece came flying out. It turns into a solid gain for Abney, but you got to hope that number 21's all right.
Well, yeah, and the guy in on the tackle, number 34, Hayden Dwornik, comes up limping after he delivers that blow on Abney. So looks like Dwornik, who delivered a hit, got the worst of it as he's still down on his back about the 23-yard line.
Staff will attend to him. We'll step aside here just momentarily, I think, or looks like they're actually going to get him off the field here, and unfortunately it looks like that may be a pretty significant injury. You hope number 34 can come back in this game. The 2nd down coming up here for Zionsville.
That was a heck of a hit. It's just one of those things, the way he landed, probably got his foot caught under him. Maybe it looks like a knee injury, twisted his knee in a weird way. You're going to see it here. You take a look coming off the edge, and nothing glaring there.
Yeah, it had to be the weight of Bankert falling on him just a little awkwardly. I think you're probably right.
Looks like Michigan City has the old college and NFL first aid tent down there as they tend to him on the sideline.
Need that tonight. It is chilly. It's gotten there. We've got a huge progression of where we started this season in the 80s, I think, to where we are now.
I think you're being kind saying the 80s.
Yeah.
It was hotter than that.
Bankert takes it off the right tackle. Big run for him. He will set up 1st and goal at the 9-yard line, able to cut it back to the middle.
And that was Newsome once again in there on the tackle after the sticks, of course. But, you know, you're going to be calling Newsome's name a lot here on the defensive side. The leading tackle for Michigan City, 56 tackles on the year, 5.5 for a loss. So he's going to be all over the ball for Michigan City tonight.
1st and goal from that spot. It's been a heavy run, and it's been Bankert. He tries the left side as he gallops towards the left hash. They'll mark him at the 5. Didn't look like he had much, but that's been the key to these runs we've seen early. Some running backs who look like they're going to get stuffed up, but turn it into a nice run of 4.
Yeah, these guys got good vision and good acceleration, so they're doing a very good job of picking their holes, being very patient, and then accelerating at the right moment.
Mentioned earlier that still waiting for Colin Price, number 33, to be a part of it, but he has not. He had over 1,600 yards. Bankert's been the guy. On 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line, they call his number again, trying to follow some blocks as he is wrapped up and taken down after a couple of yards, and a big 3rd down coming up, which you'd have to imagine, Tim, probably 4-down territory.
I would assume so. You know, Abney has rushed the ball 43 times on the year, but he's only got 1.8 yards per carry. So not a huge threat, but when you're only asked to go a couple yards here, because there was a little RPO action there as he did keep the ball in the stomach of Bankert a little long, maybe they'll set something up for him to pull this out when Michigan State's defense is not expecting it.
Folks trying to make some noise on 3rd down. 10 seconds here on the play clock as Abney, as he has many times, looking over to change the play. They move a receiver across the formation, get the snap off. Give it to Bankert, and the pressure coming from the side from Jahari Branch. Almost brought him down, and then he gets into the end zone for the touchdown. Well, it looked like he was going to be taken down and still got in.
Well, it was just a brilliant fake on the RPO. You know, we talked, these aren't really rushing quarterbacks, at least statistically from what we've seen. Well, he did a great job, and he set this up on the play before by keeping the ball in the stomach of Bankert so long. Here he pulls it out and was able to almost walk into the end zone as Jahari Branch sold out there on Bankert, thinking he had the guy brought down the 1-yard line.
Fooled me. I'll definitely tip the cap on that. Extra point is good. And Zionsville answering the field goal from Alexshuk. Takes it down the field for an 74-yard touchdown drive. You're watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
Back here with 2:59 remaining in this opening quarter. Zionsville scoring the touchdown and taking the lead. And the PAT knocked through by Zach Cook. AJ Vinatieri, I should say. And that name in this state, very familiar. Adam, a longtime kicker for the Patriots, and then Indianapolis, the Colts, proud sponsor of this IHSAA tournament. And I think, you always think that Vinatieri was with the Patriots for longer than the Colts by far, but it ended up being really close by the end of his career. He had a very illustrious career, maybe the most illustrious of any kicker in history. Returnable here to the 30-yard line. And Michigan City will have a 70-yard field after the return by Kenan Tucker.
So they did a great job, did Michigan City. The Wolves of moving the ball in the first drive, got inside the red zone before things stalled out a little bit. But Zionsville then marched right downfield fairly easily. So that's going to put the pressure on the Wolves offense to think, they got to finish off drives with 6 points. They're going to have to put the ball in the end zone. I know they got confidence in their defense, and Coach Roy Richards will make some adjustments, but this might be an important drive for Michigan City to see if they can cap one off until their defense proves they can get a stop.
Out of the gun, Bush firing quick to his left, and that is incomplete. He's trying to get it out there for Traylon Simmons.
Yeah, just a quick throw outside, little 5-yard go pattern here. Just kind of timey route, stopping at the 35-yard line, and just a little underthrown.
Trying to find a rhythm for their quarterback, Bush, here. As he didn't have to throw much on that first drive that ultimately stalled on the field goal. That got knocked through by Alexshuk. On second down, it'll be a Bush throw again. This one complete to Giovanni Laurent. He's able to sneak through one tackle, but 4 or 5 white jerseys come to swarm after a 2-yard gain.
Pretty much the same look, just on the opposite side. He did a better job of getting that ball up high where his receiver could turn and make a play. And you still look out there and you don't see Jaden Hart, number 19, still not on the field. Anderson has been the guy lined up in the backfield on this drive. And, you know, I'm looking down the sideline and I don't see number 19 down there anywhere. So that'll be something to keep an eye on as this game moves on. The two-headed monster that we talked about in our pregame, you know, it's down. They still got 2 guys running the ball, but it's mainly been Anderson.
It's been all passes on this drive as they swing it out to the back. This is Anderson, and he is taken down. Good tackle in the open field that time by Owen Russell.
Interesting play calls here. It's pretty much the same concept on all 3 plays. They wanted to get the ball to the outside quickly. Perhaps that's where they saw an opportunity to take advantage of something, I'm sure. But Anderson had success on that first drive, running the ball right up the gut. Surprised there was no runs there. But again, when they're down one of their guys, and we don't know exactly what the situation is with Jaden Hart, that's changing the game plan a little bit and the approach that perhaps City would typically have.
Michigan City punting, and that kick just getting away as it takes a big Wolves bounce and will fall about another 15 yards before it is ultimately downed, as it was not returnable that time for Firestone. But decent field position, pretty similar to where they started their last drive, this one at the 27.
Coach Roy Richards was a head coach for a long time over at Morton High School in Hammond. He took a team to semi-state. I believe that was in 2010, 1 game away from the state finals. Very successful head coach. He is a defensive coordinator for Michigan City. He has been since Coach Mason pretty much was hired in here. I think he joined his staff a couple years later. But very interested to see what kind of adjustments Coach Richards has, as they weren't able to really contain that run game at all in the first drive for Zionsville.
Touchdown on that opening drive. Abney fumbling this one, but able to regain it. Get it off, and it's caught, and this is going to go for a touchdown. It looked like it could be a disaster. Instead, it's a big play. It's Gunnar Hartwig who takes it all the way for 6.
I'm surprised I don't see a flag on the field, first of all. I mean, Kenan Tucker was all over him on that play, grabbed hold of him the entire time, and still being able to complete that pass, as you see right there, all over his arm, the arm of Hartwig. And then just great poise by Abney. You drop the snap. A lot of times guys, especially at the high school level, will pick it up and they'll start to run. He picked it up and he kept his read. He looked downfield and threw a perfect pass with a defensive back all over his receiver. Just a great play all the way around.
He knew he had one-on-one with Hartwig on the outside. Hartwig, who only had 1 touchdown in the regular seasons, doubled that total. His second touchdown of this season for Zionsville is the second Eagle touchdown of the ball game. Just over a minute left in this first quarter. You're watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
You're good at basement basketball.
We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
Michigan City jumped out in front. A 31-yard kick from Olekshuk on their opening drive. But since then, Zionsville scoring, forcing a punt, and then 1 play from scrimmage. A Gunnar Hartwig touchdown delivered from Christian Abney. And Zionsville in control of this game early in quarter number 1.
Early, yes, but still an important drive here for Michigan City. And I touched on it on the last drive. They haven't proven they can stop Zionsville's offense yet. They're going to have to put together a nice drive here to see if they can go ahead and get the ball in the end zone, because the defense hasn't proven they can stop anybody.
Flag comes flying in on the return by Bell to the 25.
Should be a face mask, it looks like, on the 21-yard line where the flag sits.
It came in really late. If it was one of those return type penalties, either a hold or a block in the back. You would have think you would have came in earlier, so I'm with you.
Thought I saw Bell's head whip around there at the end.
And you did. The officials have it there.
Absolutely. Get one right every once in a while, so I'll take the win when I can. So I'd like to see Michigan City here get back, and it's going to be a heavy dose of Anderson. Get back to running the football. Run up the gut between the tackles. You're not in a desperation situation where you need to start throwing the ball all over. You're borderlining on a desperation situation of getting points, because it's looked really easy for the Zionsville offense so far. Obviously, you had the big play on the second drive. The first drive, they just picked them apart 4, 5, 6 yards at a time, moved right down the field. So an important drive just to prove that not only can you move the ball, which they did on the first drive, but can you cap it off, hopefully by putting one in the end zone if you're a Michigan City fan. So let's get back to running the ball up the middle here, as opposed to those passes they were flying out to the flat on drive number 2.
Out of the pistol formation on first down, ball starting at the 30-yard line. And not much at all here as they stuff the middle up nicely on the defensive line for Zionsville, and Anderson maybe gets a yard on a first down carry. So second down and 9 here. 31-yard line. Ball at the 31 here for Michigan City on second and 9. Looking to get this offense going, but the Zionsville D is stepping up, trying to force back-to-back punts as they have stuffed the run on first and second down. It's 3rd and 8.
But I don't hate the play call. That's what I said they need to do. If you want those passes to work out in the flat, you have got to show that you can run the ball. And I say all the time, it's not always necessarily about gaining yardage. It's about showing your willingness to run the football, so the defense has to respect it a little bit.
We see a timeout taken here. End of the first quarter. End of the first quarter as both teams will walk off the field. And it's been all Zionsville in this opening frame. 14-3, they lead it. You are watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
School football fans, welcome back to Friday nights. To pure spirits, to pure sports. Welcome back to high school football.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back!
This is Friday night. This is Indiana high school football. This is your IHSAA. High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time. To pure spirits, to pure sports. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back!
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Start of quarter number 2 and a big third down play here for this Michigan City offense. They're hoping their quarterback Bush can make a big play, and that will become tougher as the flag comes flying in and stopping the play. This will certainly come against the offense, and a 3rd and 8.5, 9 yards will make it tougher. No, actually offsides and maybe unabated to the quarterback. Surprised they did not let that just play on. But Michigan City actually will be helped out. See what happens when you assume.
Well, at the high school level, I believe any offsides, they're going to kill the play right away, dead play right away. Yeah, that'd be your difference between college. College might even be different, too. The rules are always different between college and the NFL as well. But offsides in high school kills it right away. They can't let that play go through and have any confusion like just the Bears get as they continue to tell Justin Fields to throw the ball. You got a free play, and he throws an interception.
Raytheon Anderson on 3rd down. He's not going to have the first as he was tripped up. Looked like he was going to be able to stay on his feet and pick that up. But Zionsville again able to stop it, but it looks like Phil Mason going to be aggressive here.
Yeah, I think he was thinking the same thing I am. You got to prove that you can go downfield to put points on the board. Maybe it's just going to be trying to draw them off sides, but Zionsville's had 2 drives, one a big strike, one a longer drive. You got to try and make something happen here. I expect Anderson to get the ball right up the gut, or maybe it's a quick pitch to the outside, but no, it looks like they're going to try and draw them off sides here.
Come out of the tight formation. They will sneak it. And look for a moment like Bush lost the football as one of the players came diving in. He holds on to it. Most importantly, he's got himself a first down.
Yeah, Otto Kyler, number 44, on the Eagles defense there, came jumping down, looking like that ball came loose. But you know what? That is a great read, because if you look, the middle linebacker there, and that's number 13, Owen Russell, was showing blitz. He backed off. There was no one over the ball. So I don't know if that was a call made on that Bush made right there at the line of scrimmage. Either way, great play call just to keep it and go up the middle.
They swing it complete to Marion Hatch, and you know he's got outstanding speed to the edge, staying in bounds, and finally out inside the 25.
Outstanding block at the line of scrimmage, by Traylon Simmons, and then just a whole lot of space. He catches that ball about 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Simmons gives him the huge block, but the defensive back in coverage was about 10, 15 yards off of him. That's way too much space to give a guy like Hatch with his speed.
A lot of quick guys on this field, but Amarion Hatch is probably faster than almost all of them, as he just looks different when his legs start moving, especially in space on an Anderson run here to the 21. And some of those guys, Tim, they're just quicker, and even though there's a bunch of fast guys, Hatch somehow a step above.
Yeah, Owen Wilson able to make the tackle from behind there, but no disrespect to the teams we saw last week. We saw great football teams between New Prairie and Lowell, and then you just step up a class to 5A football, and just the speed of the game, is just that much different, especially with these 2 elite level teams. If you go up to the 6A level, it's even another step above.
Second down here. Bush off the play action, going to take a one-on-one shot, looking, end zone. This is caught, and this is a touchdown. And Gio Lorentz has 6 for Michigan City.
Great play action fake right there, and he had single coverage there on the outside, throwing the ball to the corner. And I believe there's 2 number 16s listed for Zionsville, so it was either George Quandry or Brady Peterson. I'm going to go with Quandry, the junior, who was probably out there in coverage. And just a great throw right out in the front corner of the end zone.
PAT time here for Alexchuk. He had a 31-yard field goal. Bad snap as he's able to pick it up himself, just trying to get it out there, throwing it. And this one was actually intercepted. It won't really matter, as the try will be no good. That may be a significant play. Instead of a 4-point game, it's a 5, and Zionsville will be back on offense when we come back. You're watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
School sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirits, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Gio Lorentz has a touchdown on the reception from Tyler Bush. PAT was mishandled, never even got off for Alexchuk, but if you're Michigan City, most importantly, you answer what had been back-to-back Eagle touchdowns, and he had to do it converting on a 4th down as well.
Yeah, and it starts with the speed of Hatch and making those big plays. So they able to get to the outside, able to pick up the huge yardage, and then just a great pass play and a single coverage in the front corner of the end zone. So maybe a must-score for Michigan City. You can argue that if you want, but they were able to score and keep themselves in this game. And now the defense has to see if they can step up and get a stop for the first time tonight.
Kicked off here and returnable by Alekshuk on the sideline. And now pushed out of bounds. They wanted a hold on the return from Firestone, as he did a nice job to take it to the 29.
Yeah, so the Michigan City defense needs to come out and prove that they can get a stop to keep this game from being a shootout. You know, it might be anyway, but at some point defensively you're going to have to step up as you're already trailing by 5 points. Zionsville has proven they can do it two ways. They put together a nice long drive with a heavy dose of running the football on drive number 1. Drive number 2 looked like the busted play, the fumble snap, kept his composure. Abney made a beautiful throw down the sideline for the long touchdown. We'll see what Zionsville has in mind here.
Zionsville hasn't scored less than 35 points since all the way back on October 1st. So this is a team that can score. We know Michigan City can as well. First down carry is bottled up, as Michigan City, for the first time today, really stopping the run that time from Bankert.
Yeah, so big play by the Wolves defense there to show they could step up and stop the run. You know, you want to try to force Zionsville to throw the football on 3rd and long, make it a little one-dimensional where you can really tee off and get your pass rushers in there to put some pressure on them, but they haven't been able to do that today. As Zionsville's been able to, like we said, the first drive was a lot of runs that City couldn't stop. The second drive was one play.
Abney again wanted to give it and said play action. He's got a big play down the field into double coverage, and this is caught again. A big play all the way down the field that time as they find Firestone on the completion. It turned into double coverage because they had two routes really running to the same spot.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that was double coverage. I'm not so sure that ball wasn't intended for Eugene Hilton, but it was kind of thrown up there where two guys can get it. And as we said, Firestone made the play.
Big play here as they take Bankert for a big loss on the stretch run to the edge. He will lose 5. And now Michigan City stopping the run here, but Zionsville has been hitting him on big passing plays.
Eugene Hilton, T.Y. Hilton. Am I getting that name right, or am I just making things up?
T.Y. for the Colts.
Might be Zionsville might be I looked that up. That might be near where the Colts practice facility is, and that's typically where a lot of guys live.
Might have to send you down over at halftime and comb the crowd and see who's in there.
Can't be too many coincidences over there. I mean, names like this in the Indianapolis area.
Ball on the ground. Abney again able to pick it up as he's still on his feet and able to turn it into a positive play, pick up a couple of yards. Still way behind the chains here if you're Zionsville. It'll be 3rd and long.
Yeah, that's the second fumble snap we've seen on the last 3 or 4 plays or so. That one, he just didn't have time to step up like he did the last one and look downfield. So he made the most of the bad situation. But either way, we talked about Michigan City forcing a 3rd and long, forcing a passing situation, and that's what we have here. So we'll see if they can get their pass rushers going to really key in on what should be an obvious pass situation for Zionsville.
You got single coverage on the near side for Hilton. Again, Abney can't handle it. Able to regain as he fires. Wobbler caught over the middle. This is complete. What a play by Abney as again he finds Trey Firestone for a big play.
Yeah, it looked like there was zone coverage up there on the top side of the field on the left side. Possibly Abney missed. Looked like Reed Wesley, the big tight end, running down the sideline, wide open. Yeah, you look on replay, you saw him on the corner of the screen. He was there, but hey, I'm nitpicking there. That was a great completion and a great first down play for the Eagles.
I just don't think he had enough time to keep his eyes moving all the way across.
Right, and I must admit, I was looking downfield. I wasn't exactly watching what Abney was going through behind the line of scrimmage. That's perhaps why I saw it from hundreds of feet away and way up here in the safe zone.
Big play to set up a first down here now at the 15-yard line. Abney out of the gun. Hands it off. Bankert a hole, and Bankert to the end zone for the touchdown. As he takes it in from the 16-yard line, and he's got his second score on the ground.
And just some outstanding blocking once again, going in basically untouched, may have been untouched. Santiago Aguilar got the big block, 6'2", 274-pound senior downfield, sealing off Cornell Branch to free him into the end zone. And 3 for 3 are the Eagles here tonight. That's got to be concerning for Coach Roy Richards and his defense. They have not proven that they can stop this Zionsville offense.
PAT here for Vinatieri, as they have not had any problems in their kicking game. He knocks another one through. And the score 21-9, 6:50 on the clock. Quarter number 2, City ball when we come back. You're watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
6:50 left to play in this second quarter. As again, Zionsville has taken all of their possessions and taken them right into the end zone. 3 for 3 on touchdown drives. Michigan City right now, Tim, just trying to keep up as they had scored on their most recent one. We're feeling good, but this Eagle offense is humming right now.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing is this Wolves defense. They haven't proven that they can stop them yet. Zionsville has proven they could stop Michigan City, so we'll see here. Another important drive for the Wolves.
A real short kickoff, and the up man able to return it right to the 40-yard line as Vinatieri there was, I think, trying to get a better bounce than the one he got. And Michael Woodard on the return to the 40. And great field position if you're Michigan City, but you almost have to have kind of a double-edged sword mentality here. You got about 6:40 left, just a touch more than that. You'd love to score, but you also like to take a lot of this clock off so your defense that has been worn out doesn't have to go back on the field. Starts with a handoff for Rayceon Anderson, and some of the people thought he got grabbed by the face mask.
Me included.
The officials did.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw his head turn around. The hand was definitely up high. You know, sometimes when you see replay, it just kind of looks that way, and they do get in on the shoulder pads a little bit. But that's what I want to see out of this Michigan City team. Heavy dose of running the football to set up the pass. You know, they've proven they can pass the ball downfield. Obviously, they've done it all year. Tyler Bush has a good arm, makes good decisions. But let's run the football a lot here with Anderson to get that that Zionsville defense play and run, and then just pick the right moment as we got a flag in the field here. And it looks like for the third week in a row, we're going to have, no, it is going to be a false start. I thought we were going to have, once again, an offensive lineman line up off sides like we've had each of the last 2 weeks together.
Officials Rob Couch, Brody Terpstra, Rob Morse, Kevin Fetterman, and Cody Feilbaum have been semi-busy in this game. Have had some obvious ones to get, and they've gotten them. Otherwise, there's been a lot of big offensive plays from both teams.
Don't mean to put you on the spot here, Sam, but you usually have this marked down. Who won the toss? And I believe that Michigan City had the ball first. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Okay. So Zionsville will have the ball to start the second half, which makes this play even more important.
They bobble the handoff. Bush able to recover, but he can't go anywhere. Taken down for the sack. Brought down in the backfield by Otto Kyler.
I said play. I mean, makes this drive all the more important because if you can't go in and score, as we take a look at the replay here, to see if this was a botch handoff, it just looked like a little read option that Bush tried to pull out of there and just wasn't able to get his hands on. But if Michigan City can't convert here on third and very long, and they're forced to punt to a Zionsville offense that they haven't stopped yet tonight, Zionsville goes in and scores, gets the ball first to start the second half, you're in very dangerous territory for Michigan City, Coach Mason, Coach Richards.
3rd and 17. Bush going to take a shot down the field looking for Hatch, and he's got it! O'Marion Hatch got single coverage, and he's able to come back to the football and make a big play.
Both guys got turned around on that one. Hatch, you mentioned, turned around, was able to come back and see the ball. And then I believe it was Aiden Crane 6'5", 233 for Zionsville, big number 18. He got turned around as well. Hatch was just able to identify the ball first and make a huge play and, keep Michigan City maybe in this ball game without giving the ball back to Zionsville with 5 minutes to play.
Number 20's been the guy when you need a big play for Michigan City. Anderson on a first down carry. Picks up 3 yards. But I'll tell you, you said it's Crying there, a little bit surprised, crying, that he had a 6'5" guy listed as a linebacker on Marion Hatch, who is 5'9". He's that scat back type guy, out of the slot formation type receiver. That is a mismatch in favor of Michigan City.
Yes, absolutely. Crying did a great job as he was step for step with him. He just got turned around, lost track of the ball, and the very athletic Hatch was able to make a play.
Second down here and 7. Bush from a clean pocket going to take a shot down the field and incomplete as they had Gio Laurent bracketed that time with help over the top.
Now Bush really does throw a nice ball, a little awkward. He kind of has that shot put throw as he brings the ball from his shoulder pads, his back shoulder, and kind of shot puts it through. So it's not a clean, natural looking release for a quarterback, but it gets the job done, especially at the high school level. He's been very effective here this year.
This is a position I imagine is 4-down territory. You're nowhere near field goal range. Probably you would need a first down, really, for field goal range, so you obviously keep the drive moving anyways. So if that is the case on third down here, you're looking to at least pick up a couple of yards as they'll roll the pocket left. Bush trying to get settled, can't get his shoulders squared and had nobody open as he throws it away.
That's really the first time, I believe, tonight we've seen City move the pocket as they tried to cut off half the field. They had a couple guys running routes about 10, 15 yards down the field. Weren't very successful, but three points on the first drive, the missed extra point after the touchdown on their last possession. They're leaving points out there on the board. And when you haven't stopped Zionsville yet today, you can't afford to settle for 3. We know this is a little outside of the range, although the wind they'll have the wind at their back going this direction, it looks like. But little outside the range, I think, for their kicker. But regardless, I don't think 3 points will get it done here. They need a 4-down territory and go for 6.
Phil Mason was trying to find the right play, so he takes a timeout. We'll step aside quickly. You're watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farmer Insurance and powered by Jet TV.
2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. You have 2 choices. Option 1, take 2 nanoseconds to reach over and put on your seatbelt. Or option 2, decide it's too much work for a Saturday and don't put on your seatbelt. As the seatbelt alarm continues to sing the song of its people, you roll your eyes. You're just going down the block, you'll be fine. You take a turn to the left, and that's when you see it.
Just wear your seatbelt. It's an easy way to save your own life. The Indiana Criminal Justice Institute wants to remind you that choices matter. Click it to live.
Big play in this second quarter with 4 minutes remaining for this Michigan City offense. And Zionsville will ask for some help from their crowd across the way. And they need to find a way to keep Michigan City from picking up 7 yards here. And if you're City at this point, you can't get a stop. It's been 3 for 3 on touchdowns. This is a huge play.
Yeah, absolutely, because you're going to give the ball back to Zionsville with more than enough time for that offense to march down the field and score if they don't convert here.
Bush trying to make a play. Looking, he's got one-on-one coverage. To the outside, he had Lawrence there, but he underthrew it just a bit. He thought he was going to cut the route off before he did. It's incomplete, and Zionsville comes up with the stop.
Owen Rossell coming on a little late blitz there, was able to get in Bush's face just enough perhaps to alter that throw as he came through untouched. Yes, Bush had his guy out there in the flat. He just wasn't able to set his feet to get enough muscle on that ball that we know he has the arm strength. We've seen him demonstrate that today. So Rossell coming through there at the end, just enough perhaps to force that incomplete pass, and now very dangerous territory for this Michigan City defense.
Still plenty of time left, and all 3 timeouts remaining here for Zionsville. On first down, they give it to the outside. Bankert has a big lane, and he's got the sideline as he stays in bounds, and now a foot race all the way down to the 10-yard line on a big run that time for Gage Bankert.
And Banker lowered his head at the 17-yard line at the end of that play and delivered a hit on a Michigan City defender. I can't make out his number right now, but he just went down hard to finish that play. And, yeah, that was scary looking, as it was Cameron Bell kind of bent down there at the end and maybe got his head jammed a little bit, but he appears to be okay as he's staying on the field. That would be Robinson, number 21 for Michigan City, kind of going down a little low and maybe got a little stinger there for a second.
Ball's at the 10, so first and goal. They'll try Bankert again this time. It is covered up nicely coming from the edge. It was Jahari Branch. Branch was the guy we thought had the big play earlier near the goal line and fooled everybody when it turned out that the ball was in the end zone.
And we've seen some amazing speed on this field so far. And, you know, if Bankert's not the fastest guy in the field, what's that say about Hatch? Because both those guys can move, and they've been impressive once they get out in open field.
One thing I've noticed from Michigan City, this Roy Richards defense you've mentioned, a lot of guys playing up near the line of scrimmage. So when the ball gets past those initial defenders, there has been some running room, and we've seen Bankert really take advantage of that. On second and goal, play action pass, looking end zone and overthrown as they were trying to find Eugene Hilton.
And it's been an odd night. You know, we talked Michigan City playing today without Jaden Hart, their number one option. Well, arguably, Anderson does have a few more carries on the year. And for Zionsville, they appear to be playing without Colin Price, number 33, 226 carries on the year for 1,656 yards. Have not seen him, have not heard where he's at yet today. Hard to see on the sideline if he's standing over there or not. So very impressive offense. Zionsville playing without their lead running back.
It's a big play for Michigan City. Not only do you want to get a stop on third and goal, you'd like to have them not gain much and have to settle for a field goal. Again, Abney fumbles the snap, will throw it, and miscommunication as his receiver went to the middle, and he threw it incomplete to the corner. That was Firestone.
That's the third time today we've seen a bobbled snap for Abney. We'll see if that ends up being an issue later in the game, but a huge stop for Michigan City to hold them to 3 points. You know, Vinatieri, very talented kicker, should be able to put this one in from this distance.
This one will be from 27 yards. Very minimal wind as it settled down greatly from earlier throughout the afternoon. If anything, it's right to left. As Vinatieri will try for a 27-yarder. And he missed it as he hooked it left and had plenty of leg. And not only does Michigan City force the field goal attempt, they get fortunate even more on a miss.
And they get the ball back with 2.5 minutes to play. And they do have an explosive enough offense with enough team speed that they can march downfield and get a score on the board. And that would completely change the momentum of this game going to the half. Yes, Zionsville will get the ball to start the second half. All the more important when Michigan City needs to go downfield and put some points on the board right here on this drive.
The City's had to burn a couple of timeouts, remember, on plays they would have had to delay a game. So they have one remaining, you see on your screen. And still time, of course, the clock, will stop on any plays out of bounds. They'll stop on first downs until they set the football. So at the high school game, like the college game, it is really a lot of time, especially when you do have that benefit of at least having one timeout just if you need it.
Yeah, the only difference here, especially the high school games, you don't get the 2-minute warning, but the clock stops, like you said, on a lot of different situations.
Keep an eye on number 20 as he has been the big play threat. They look to lob it on the sideline, and Laurent made the catch, but he's out of bounds. Gio Laurent, great efforts for what will go down as an incomplete pass.
Brilliant off-balance throw there by Bush, rolling out, but just too far on the sideline.
And they've done a nice job on Laurent here on the sideline. Again, bracketed as he was on a pass that was intended for the end zone on the most recent Michigan City drive. On second down and 10 from their own 20-yard line. They will run it here with Anderson, and a nice tackle as he was stood up after 4 yards that time, taken down by Will Keller.
I like the decision to still show run here. You got plenty of time left, plenty of ways to stop the clock. So still show your willingness to run the football, keep this Zionsville defense honest enough as to where they have to respect the run, and that's just going to open up the one-on-one coverage on the outside. And it looks like they're going to have single coverage on the top side of the field and perhaps down here as well, as Zionsville looks like they're showing man-to-man in the defensive backfield.
Again, a lot of guys up near the line of scrimmage here for Zionsville. Keep an eye on Hatch. Looking sideline. This was almost intercepted, and then it was almost caught. As Zionsville had the same thought. They had everybody concentrating on number 20 that time, and Aiden Crine, who got beat on the big play on the most recent drive, almost had the INT.
And a great job in coverage by Cameron Mullins, who was playing jam coverage that time with the line of scrimmage, was riding his guy in the 5-yard legal zone, and then just maintained step for step going down the sideline. So unfortunate 3 and out for Michigan City, and a huge stop for Zionsville, as they now have a shot with a minute and a half to go here in the half to possibly put some points on the board.
Timeout here for Phil Mason, as he had some issues. One of his coaches on the sideline was telling him he needed to call a timeout. I don't know if they had the wrong formation or maybe not the right personnel. Nobody coming off or on the field, so would lead me to believe that they're very worried about kicking it to Firestone and trying to make sure they angle this either out of bounds or to a place where he can't have a big return. And if you're Zionsville, like we said, you've got an eternity here still, given the fact that you've got 3 timeouts and will probably have a pretty short field.
Yeah, so the whole playbook will be open for them, depending on really where they take over the ball, outside of a friendly Michigan City roll that pins Zionsville back maybe around the 20-yard line. The way they've been running the ball, and they just do a great job of sealing the edge, allowing their running backs to get around the outside. 3 timeouts, clock stops after every first down. The whole playbook is going to be open to them early on in that possession.
Firestone standing right around his own 40-yard line as they're ready to punt this one away. Had some issues on a couple of these special teams plays. Firestone having to retreat, and that was the plan, as Robinson had a nice punt there to the sideline, making sure that it was unreturnable, but still pretty good field position as the Eagles will have it at their own 41.
Yeah, and I expect to see some run game here early on. Just give it to Bankert, see if you can get something to the outside where he may break a long run. Don't risk putting the ball up in the air right yet. Just show that you're willing to run the football, get the Michigan City defense thinking run, and then pick the right opportunity if you get single coverage on the outside to fire the ball downfield. But 3 timeouts, that's an eternity in high school football. I expect them to be very patient here early on to see what they can get on the ground.
So you see it right there, minute 30 left. And they need to go 60 yards. Bankert's running on first down, was able to elude 1 tackle and then drag another for the first. He's across the 50 as the clock will stop on this first down.
Again, just some outstanding edge blocking for this Eagles offensive line, and they're able to get around the edge, and when they do, there's just huge holes for them that open up so they can get down the field in a hurry.
Clock starts to tick after they set it. Bankert will try the same side, right in front of his own bench to the sideline and taken down at the 39. They will run the clock, and no timeout taken yet by Zionsville. Remember, they've got all 3 still.
And Joey Tanana, that's 2 plays in a row now where he's made a great block there on the outside. 6'6", 289, the big senior offensive lineman. He can really get out there and move to open up those holes.
Really surprised that Zionsville not taking a timeout, given the fact that they've got all 3. Abney, as they pick up the blitz, going to take a shot left side, and overthrowing Firestone incomplete.
Yeah, he threw that ball about 50 yards downfield in the air on one leg as he was being rushed there and stood in there and just threw a great ball, just a little out of the reach of his receiver. Yeah, a little surprising there. They didn't burn a timeout on one of those 2 runs. But now with 37 seconds left and 3 timeouts, they might be thinking outside of breaking a big play. They just want to get in field goal range here to at least put 3 points on the board before the half.
Clock says 38 seconds. Down in distance is 3rd and 3.
Single coverage here to the near side.
Bankerts, again, they have worked that left side to a bunch of success He picks up the first, very patient there, waiting for those blocks. And now a first down, and they will take their first timeout.
Yeah, we've seen pretty much that same play where they've had success on the ground going to Banker, going to the far side of the field, and they just get a great job. Those offensive linemen get downfield, and they get into that second level, and they get bodies on backers, and that opens up Banker, and he just is being patient, and it just takes that one play. If he gets out in space, he can go 30, 40 yards in a hurry and put 6 points on the board. So they don't need to be that team that fires the ball down the field. They're certainly capable of doing it, but staying patient with Bankert has proven to be successful so far. You know, it's just impressive. Both teams really, but Zionsville, what they've been able to do on the ground in this rushing game, playing apparently tonight without lead rusher Colin Price.
Vinatieri, if you're wondering, as we've talked about the kicking game for both teams, we saw a 31-yarder in this direction, barely knocked through by Alekshuk, but Vinatieri, a bigger leg. He had a long of 42 this year, with 6 of 9 before his miss earlier from about 27, and that was not a miss by distance by any means. He had plenty of leg on that. It probably would have been good from at least 40 if he hit the same kick. Just missed it wide to the left. So you'd have to think you need probably about 15 more yards here to be in his range. Abney wanted to take off, and then he swarmed and goes down for a loss as they sack him in the backfield, and the Eagles will have to use their second timeout.
Yeah, they had City all spread out. They had man-to-man coverage down here on the right side of the field. I think he was going to look that way initially. Of course, I was looking down here, and Sam, you said it looked like he was just going to tuck it and run on that one, so perhaps a design run, or he just didn't see anything down here open right away. So it'll be an interesting play call here now. We're going to have, second down, about 11 yards, 25 seconds to play. This might be a play here with one timeout left. You know, get into field goal range, if nothing else. You do have the timeout left, so you could still take something over the middle of the field. You could still pick up a first down here, burn your last timeout, and then have 2 plays designed, maybe call one in the end zone if he gets sacked, a quick spike, and then still be able to get the field goal. So as I'm talking myself through all the options, you got the one timeout, still take the shot, try to get the first down, throw some over the middle of the field. You got the whole field to work with as long as you have the timeout to play with. And, of course, the clock will stop on the first down anyway.
25 seconds left. Abney back to pass, looking left, throws complete, sideline and out of bounds. He can't do it better than that. Firestone the catch, and he makes the play at the 23, and that will stop the clock. Don't have to use that timeout.
Banker did a tremendous job of picking up that blitz. Michael Pale coming through untouched, and Banker step up right there, and he looked like a pro picking up that blitzing backer to give Abney enough time to fire that throw out to the sideline. So 20 seconds to go. You still have the timeout in your pocket. You're in field goal range. So you still have the whole field to work with right here, and you could take a couple shots into the end zone.
Firestone's been the target all year long. 50 receptions coming into the game. Going to take a shot, looking, end zone, contested. Good coverage, but a flag comes flying in, and this will certainly be pass interference. As you could see, Wrigley Baumgartner, who had a catch earlier in the game, signaling that his right arm was pulled down.
Yeah, I like the call. Looked like Tucker was riding him pretty hard. There was a lot of contact there, as you're going to take a look here on the replay. From about the 5-yard line into the end zone, number 7, Tucker, he was kind of jamming from behind, and, yeah, it looks like he did have that left arm as well. He's not happy about the call. The folks in front of us not too happy, but it looked like a pretty good call. Looked like a good call live. Certainly was a great call when you see it on replay.
Phil Mason not in complete agreement either is Roy Richards, as that will move it to a first down and put them definitely into field goal range, and still a couple of times here where they can go to the end zone with 15 seconds to play. The ball now at the 12-yard line.
Yeah, with one timeout, I wouldn't hate a run here. You know, run the ball to the outside. They've had success to the left side with Bankert. You know, burn that timeout if you don't get it.
Abney will throw it on first down. He's looking corner. This is caught. It's a touchdown. Caught there on the sideline by Firestone again. He's got himself another score, and that lead growing for Zionsville.
Well, they had, once again, man-to-man coverage and single coverage all over the field. It was Robinson one-on-one with Firestone over there, and just too much height advantage with Firestone, who goes 6'3", 197, going up against 5'10". Easy decision there. Great throw by Abney.
Vinatieri on for the point after. He's been perfect in that regard. He missed a 27-yard field goal a minute or so ago. But he stays perfect on the point after attempts. 28-9. Eagles of Zionsville on top. We'll just stay right here with 8 seconds to play. We'll have really the kickoff coming from Zionsville, and then we'll see Michigan City maybe have one player just kneel it out. All of a sudden, Zionsville has come in here, Tim, and they've dominated offensively this first half. City's moved the ball, but little mistakes they've made, unable to convert on a couple of bigger plays. That 4th and 7 will, I'm sure, be something they're thinking about at halftime, but Zionsville has been almost perfect on their offensive execution.
I don't think Michigan City expected that they were going to have to be perfect. They got a pretty solid defense, only giving up 21 points on the year, led by Coach Roy Richards, who I've talked about tonight. You know, and they expected that they could settle for 3 here or there, that their defense would be able to contain this Zionsville offense, but that just hasn't been the case. So you look at the 4th and 7, you look at settling for 3 on the first drive. Who knows if that missed extra point's going to come into play later in the game. Boy, Michigan City certainly hopes they can make that 1 point come into play later, but they have just not proven, I think, but one time that they were able to stop this Zionsville offense. If I'm not mistaken, Zionsville has scored on 4 of 5 drives. So until they show they can do that, you know, this might not be much of a ball game in the second half.
Tucker comes up to pick it up now, trying to turn it all the way across the outside of the field. Trying to make something happen here as they keep the pile up, let a couple more seconds tick away. And now the officials come in to make sure nothing extra happens, as the ball will be at the 36-yard line, and we'll see if Phil Mason just kneels it and takes it to halftime, or if he's got some sort of big-time play that he's got up his sleeve.
I don't think Phil Mason's the kneel it and take it to halftime type of guy.
He is not.
Especially, you know, when you're down right now this much. I think he's going to throw the ball downfield. I don't know if he's got, 100 laterals in him, but he's got enough speed. He might try to take advantage of something, getting the ball to Hatch or someone on the sideline, especially if you can get the ball to Hatch anywhere on the field. And he's lined up over here where we've seen this formation before, where you throw the ball out to Hatch, and you have number 15, Traylon Simmons, setting a little pick for him or a quick block after the catch. I look for maybe a quick pass right out here to Hatch, Simmons to be the lead blocker, and who knows, maybe Hatch springs one down the sideline. I just see Zionsville dropping everyone back into coverage.
They throw it out to the outside, complete. Gio Laurent has the catch, and decent yardage after that, but with only 2 seconds, the clock expiring as he runs out of bounds for the final play. Dominating first half offensively here from Zionsville, as they will take a big lead into the break and get the football to start our second half on top of it. 28-9, the Eagles on top. We will step aside. You'll hear from the commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig, during our break, as you are watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
Rush on Main, home of the beef, Chicago-style eats, Northsiders, The Loop, Windy City Chicken, Chicago Dogs, The Combo. Holy cow! Watch all the sports action at Rush on Main. Let's go Eagles!
Hi, I'm Matt Wolford, president of the IHSAA Foundation, and we need your help. We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to IHSAAfoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
You're good at making big announcements.
We're having a game!
We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
You're good at basement basketball.
We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
You're good at keeping the car clean. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
High school football fans, welcome back to Friday nights, to pure spirits, to pure sports. Welcome back to high school football.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back!
This is Friday night. This is Indiana high school football. This is your IHSAA.
It's time for the Commissioner's Corner, an exclusive weekly conversation about Indiana high school sports with the Commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig. Now for an up-to-the-minute report about what's happening in the constantly changing world of high school sports. Here's Coach Bob Lovell with Commissioner Paul Neidig.
Let's get you set up with everything you need to know about the IHSAA. It's a busy time of year for high school sports, and we welcome you to the Commissioner's Corner. I'm Brendan King in for the Coach Bob Lovell, joined alongside IHSAA Commissioner. That is Paul Neidig. Paul, certainly a busy time. We've got some semi-state winners to crown this weekend.
Yeah, isn't it great? I'll take busy every day of the week. Great time of the year. And, we've celebrated some state championships this fall, but we got to focus on football the next 2 weeks now.
No doubt about it. You mentioned state championships, Paul, at Lucas Oil Stadium coming up here in just a couple weeks. I wanted to ask you this. When you look at last year and you look at this year, was game planning for this year easier or harder just because obviously you're back to normal, there's more people to manage, and there's just more stuff going on this year without, as much COVID restriction?
Yeah, I think it's certainly different. I think this year for us, planning-wise, looked more like 2019, previous years. You got to remember, 12 months ago, while we were playing, we were still trying to figure out how to play. And, it's opening up a high school venue is one scenario, but then opening up a facility like Lucas Oil and temperature checks and clearing between stands and the sanitization that took place. It was all the right stuff to do. But, yeah, there were a lot more moving parts given COVID-19 and where it was at, treatments and protocols than there are this year, but certainly still respect what's going on with COVID and going to do it safely.
Paul, we talked about this a little bit last week, but the state championships this year inside Lucas Oil, what can fans expect that may be a little bit different from last season?
I think we're going to see more fans. Everything that we've seen this fall has been, I would call this the year of the fan. People have come back in groves just to go watch a high school football. I think they realize the value in the experience, how much fun it is to go watch that time-honored tradition of kids playing for their local high school. And it's just going to be fans. I look for a lot of energy in the building this year. We don't have to clean out, clear the facilities, so fans that want to come and buy a ticket and watch 3 games in a day are going to be able to do that this year. And I just really think there's going to be a lot of energy. And we had the energy last year, but it's just hard when you had a maximum of 5,000 per contest. This year that number's going to be at least double that, and we're hoping triple that with people coming out to watch their kids play.
Well, I'm definitely excited to be on the call for the Class 2A state championship game inside Lucas Oil, Paul. But, after the state championships, no rest for the weary. You're going to be right into basketball season and holiday tournaments before you know it.
Again, it's just the holiday season is a great time of the year where between Christmas and New Year's, there's holiday tournaments. There's just a lot of basketball played. Kids get a chance to not to have to focus on the daily education side of why they're in school, the main reason why they're in school, and just take a 2-week period of time and just focus on playing basketball with their teammates. And great games, great tradition along the way. But our ladies are playing, our young men are playing, and we're going to go with it.
Paul, what's really the next step for you guys in terms of like spring planning after football state championships finish up? Because that's obviously a big load off your shoulder.
Once football gets over with, we do try to catch our breath a little bit at the beginning of December. But it's what's interesting. We just had a meeting this morning, and our assistant commissioners are looking at their officials meetings and the training for officials and getting them prepared for the next season, and what rule changes have come to us from the National Federation of High Schools over the last year, and how do we get that information out to our schools and our coaches. And it's a constant cycle of training officials, looking at game protocol, looking at what's best for the tournaments. Do we need to make adjustments to provide a better experience for student athletes? It's just, we don't just go play a state championship in football in 2 weeks and quit thinking about it for the next year. It's constant, and the staff does a phenomenal job. They keep it live, they keep it real, and they continue to focus on what we need to do before the year's over, how we're going to manage the next year.
He is the commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig. I'm Brendan King with you on the Commissioner's Corner. Paul, always appreciate the time. Should be a really fun next couple of weeks.
It is, and good luck with the show this weekend, Brendan. I look forward to tuning in Friday and Saturday night to hearing the experts talk about high school football.
Thanks for listening to the Commissioner's Corner with IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig and Coach Bob Lovell. And thank you for your continued support of the high schools in your community.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirit, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Neidig, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA. This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Neidig, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
It's 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. You have two choices. Option 1, take 2 nanoseconds to reach over and put on your seatbelt. Or option 2, decide it's too much work for a Saturday and don't put on your seatbelt. As the seatbelt alarm continues to sing the song of its people, you roll your eyes. You're just going down the block, you'll be fine. You take a turn to the left, and that's when you see it.
Just wear your seatbelt. It's an easy way to save your own life. The Indiana Criminal Justice Institute wants to remind you that choices matter. Click it to live it.
Hey, Indiana. Let's clear the air about vaping. Glue, rat poison, paint. We all know these products contain poisons like formaldehyde, arsenic, and lead. And these are just a few of the chemicals you'll find in e-cigarette vapor. Let's clear the air, Indiana. Don't puff this stuff. Visit don'tpuffthisstuff.com to join the fight and spread the word.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
Here at the half, 28-9, Zionsville on top. They have dominated this first half, and it has been really a balanced attack. We've seen a lot from Gage Bankards, number 21, taking over in this one for Colin Price. And Bankard has been the guy who has carried the load a ton today. Christian Abney, we thought we might see Luke Murphy, who had played in all 11 after Abney had missed a couple at the beginning of the season's first few games, and ultimately has come back and has played a pretty spotless first half of football in this one. For Michigan City, they're trying to get more from a few guys that they're used to contributing so much to. Tyler Bush has been trying to find more receivers than just Amarian Hatch and Gio Lorenz, but has not been able to do so far in this ball game. 28-9 here at the break. And as we said throughout that first half, Tim, it's just amazing the efficiency and the dynamic attack that Zionsville has had. They really should have scored on all 5 of their drives. They should have at least had a field goal, but a rare miss from Vinatieri. Otherwise, they've been perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been the problem is Michigan State's defense hasn't shown the ability to step up and stop them, and they're doing it in so many different ways. Very interesting game with both teams playing without their lead running back that apparently seems to be affecting Michigan City a little more. Just talking to a few people here in the press box, just how much Hurt means to this offense, and Jaden Hart, and not having him out there, and they got to rely more on one guy. And then a passing attack that's maybe not as great as Zionsville's, and that's no disrespect whatsoever to what Tyler Bush does in this Michigan City offense. But I think Zionsville is more able to overcome the lack of their star running back because, they got an outstanding guy out there in Bankert that would probably be the number 1 running back on most other teams in the state. And then they got a quarterback who's very dynamic, throws a great ball, and he can utilize the entire field. So they've shown they can do it in many ways. They've shown they can throw the ball down the field. And then Banker, just the offensive line getting out there on the edge, and they are just creating huge holes, allowing Banker to be patient and then turn up his speed. It's just been a tremendously well-played game for Zionsville offensively, and I just credit that offensive line because they're doing a tremendous job of opening up huge holes. And then the defense, obviously playing without Jaden Hart is hurting Michigan City, but Zionsville defense is doing what they need to do. They're stopping the 11 guys who are out there, and they've done a great job of bending but not breaking in certain situations.
Speaking of Bankerts, if you know Jim Diedlow, who is our owner of our station and morning host, I do question your integrity maybe slightly as a joke, but we always like to hear when people are listening, and a lot of people here in the Michigan City area, I'm sure all across the state, definitely in Zionsville. They brought a good number of people with, but we know there's some watching back, and one of them is Cole Bankerts, who is working tonight. His brother Gage is having an impressive performance, so thanks for listening, Cole, and watching this game across the state, and everybody who has been a part of all these broadcasts tonight on IHSAA TV. So, Tim, revisiting the things we talked about, Michigan City, a two-headed monster, but as you said, that has not been the case in this one. Jaden Hart, the sophomore, has unfortunately been ruled out for this game. It's all fallen on Raytheon Anderson, and he's played all right, but when it's not the two-headed monster, it's a lot easier to key on one guy.
Yeah, and you take a look at the stats of this game, and I haven't seen Michigan City play in person all year, have seen some highlights, but it's been Anderson and Hart, a combination of both. Hart's had 118 carries on the year, to Anderson's 149. When you count on having those two guys balance each other out, bounce off each other, Anderson appears from what we've seen today to be the in-between the tackle guy. And I think Hart would be more the guy kicking it to the outside. And they've tried different things. They've tried Hatch to play that role. They tried throwing the ball to him in the flat and making that passing game an extension of the running game. But it's not the same thing because now you're playing with those. You would have had him anyway. So you're still short that one piece. They were still going to utilize Hatch in a lot of the same ways they are. But now for Zionsville, knowing that you don't have to worry about Hart. You key in on Anderson. You key in on Hatch on the outside. It makes a huge difference. Listen, we're in semi-state. We're one game away from the state finals. These teams have been playing football since the middle of August, and they have been relying on this two running back system. And now you get to your biggest game of the year, a trip to the state finals on the line, and you're without a key piece. I don't care how much you practice, how much you scheme, playing for it, talk it up. It's an issue. It's going to be a big problem.
Well, to be fair, and you normally would say not too many teams get to semi-state and have to not play with one of their big pieces, and normally you can't win. But Colin Price on the other side is is not playing tonight, or at least has not played yet for Zionsville. And Bankerts, and then great quarterback play from Abney. They haven't missed a beat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're without a major piece as well. But, I think, like I said, I think Abney versus Bush, Abney is slightly more dynamic in the passing game, can do a little bit more things. I think they got some better targets at the wideout position, and they're able to make up for that a little bit better. And they've been kind of, injured all year as Abney's been in and out of the lineup. Luke Murphy has been the quarterback, actually thrown more passes on the year than Abney coming to this game. So they've, had to adjust being down major pieces throughout the year, and they've proven that they can do it. So coming into this game without their starting running back, they said, hey, we've already made it this far. We've played a good chunk of the season without our starting quarterback. So a little more confidence in their depth and what they're able to scheme up and do.
Zionsville with a big lead, and they're going to get the football to start the second half. We'll step aside. This is the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by JED TV.
Hi, I'm Matt Wolford, president of the IHSAA Foundation, and we need your help. We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to IHSAAfoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
Getting ready for the start of our second half. Michigan City will kick it away. Olekshuk, the kicker, who had a 31-yarder. And the only other time Michigan City has found the end zone was a pass to Gio Laurent. Otherwise, it has been tough to find consistency, though it feels like Michigan City's moved the ball. They've not been able to make those key plays when it's mattered, and credit to Zionsville. They have tightened up defensively at the most important times, but as far as the offense is concerned, this Eagles offense is absolutely rolling, Tim. If Michigan City wants to find a way back in this game, they're going to have to score, of course, but they're going to need stops. If there's a guy who can figure it out, it's probably Roy Richards. So what's the plan of attack? What can you try to take away, if anything, but at least concentrate on trying to stop here?
Well, I think Zionsville, with the lead that they have here to start the second half, of course they might be a little more aggressive to put this game away with a quick score. But I think you got to load up when you got to do something to force Banker to run in between the tackles. He's getting pretty much anything he wants on the outside. You got to keep him inside and force Zionsville to put the ball in the air.
Off a couple of bounces, Cameron Mullins did a nice job to stay on his feet across the 30-yard line. And they'll spot him at the 33, and that's where Zionsville starts this second half offensively.
But I say that, and I think Zionsville they're going to come out with their full playbook here to start the third quarter. A score here in this game might be over. But the focus for them will be probably after that running the football. Michigan City needs to force them to put the ball in the air. They need to force them to run the ball between the tackles. And I haven't seen Zionsville play all year. I'm guessing Price may have been the more in-between the tackle guy, and Banker runs the ball to the outside. But they got to definitely try to keep him contained.
They contain him here on this first down run. Maybe a yard for Gage Bankerts. He's had a lot of success running the ball off that left side. Those big tackles there, blocking and leading the way. Big number 79, Joey Tonona. A lot of talent amongst the big guys.
Both these teams, I'm looking at their schedules, they both play very tough schedules. Both these teams played opponents who are matched up in the 6A semi-state today. Maryville playing down at Westfield. Michigan City lost to Westfield.
Bankert able to get away from one hit. Again, that's been the one guy for Michigan City, Jahari Branch, who has been getting some penetration to the backfield on some of these runs.
Michigan City lost to Maryville earlier this season, 40-19. Zionsville fell to Westfield, 42-21. So both teams are battle-tested and have opponents who are playing for a trip to the state finals down in Westfield tonight.
Feels like a huge play. Early third quarter, but down already 3 scores. Michigan City on a 3rd and 10. Can they come up with a stop? Really no pressure tonight on Christian Abney. They flush him from the pocket. Abney, not a runner, but he's taken off here, and he's got a huge run. Still on his feet, angling back to the edge. Now finally being taken down at the 25. Christian Abney, not a guy who had run it much at all this year. Only 78 yards total the entire season, and a big one on a 3rd and 10.
Well, what happened there is it was a 3rd and long, so it was an obvious passing situation. Michigan City brings pressure, but right up the gut. And as talented and as quick as this Zionsville team is, if I'm bringing pressure, if I'm Coach Roy Richards, I'm bringing it from the outside. You got to keep these guys contained. He brings it up the middle, and it opens up the entire outside for Abney to get loose.
After the big run, they give it to Bankert, and there he goes. He's gone. A touchdown to open this third quarter in this second half. After City had him in 3rd and 10, 2 huge runs get him into the end zone.
And again, that's just excellent blocking. This is an athletic group, an offensive lineman for the Eagles that are able to get outside and put bodies on guys in the second level. And that time it was Joe Kennedy who made a huge block. I've talked about Peevler, Joey Peevler, Santiago Aguilar is the guy we've talked about earlier today. 2 number 60s, that threw me for a second. I apologize. But just a great job by these offensive line to get out and get bodies on the second level.
Vinatieri, another point after. He's 5 of 5 on that. It's been all Eagles so far. Michigan City getting the football when we return on the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
Being a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
Another Zionsville touchdown, the 3rd of the evening from Gage Bankert. He has found, in the words of the great Mitch Holthus, the sweet nectar of the end zone now 3 times today. And when they needed Tim at 21's going to run it. Bankert, who we mentioned, Abney might throw it, but at the most important time for Michigan City, when they needed a stop, it was the legs that time of Christian Abney, the quarterback, who, again, probably got about half the yards he'd had all season in one run.
I think they just don't ask him to run very much. You wonder, maybe the injury was a lower body injury, which kept him from running the ball a little bit, as we got a return up the middle there by Kenyon Tucker to about the 39-yard line. But I was thinking about that earlier today when I was looking at the stats of these 2 quarterbacks and see if they got, 2 guys who have played quite a bit this year. Perhaps there was an injury that resulted in him not running the ball that much. He looked quick, athletic, very elusive, as he almost broke that one. And we saw earlier in the game, they are running a little RPO action. He had a touchdown earlier in the game, albeit from 2 or 3 yards out. So I think the guy might be a little more capable to run the ball than these statistics are showing us.
Out of the pistol. This is a running play to the right and some room to maneuver. Nice run. On first down, will move the chains. I think that was Hatch. It was out of the backfield for the first time today, and Amarion takes it to the 46.
So we've seen them try to get Hatch involved by throwing the ball to the outside. We've alluded to the fact that perhaps Hart is the speedster that they are missing as the counter to Anderson. So here's the adjustment now. Put Hatch in the backfield and maybe get the ball in his hands a little more.
There's another give. This one, they're trying to get to the edge for Raytheon Anderson, and Anderson will lose a couple of yards. They knock him back in the backfield.
Connor Milner right in on that one. to go ahead and make that play right away as he came in low, grabbed onto the legs, and forces a loss. So it's going to be 2nd and 12, in which we could assume from this point moving forward is going to be 4th down territory for Michigan City, as the only team to stop Zionsville from scoring in every possession has been themselves on the missed field goal. Michigan City's going to need some scores and probably some onside kicks coming up here.
They try Hatch, and he can't get away either. Down he goes. Another loss. Finn Esley brings him down.
Yeah, first time we've called the sophomore's name today. Well, he looked quick coming there from the outside to bring down the speedster. You know, you allow Hatch to get around the edge, anything can happen. We saw, I think it was the first play of the game when he was trapped over on the left side of the field, a completely reversed direction and almost took it to the house. So huge play there to set up a 3rd and 17, in which still believes 4 down territory. They just got to make a play to pick up about half of it here.
Bush, they slide him outside, trying to make a play, incomplete as his receiver, Gio Laurent, slipped anyways. And it's 4th and 17, and Michigan City, probably regrettably in their own minds, is going to kick it away.
You know, that awkward shot put style throw for Bush, you know, it's not easy to roll out of the pocket and try to do that on the run. You saw it was kind of awkward as he threw that ball and tries to push it out there. You know, he's just, I believe, just a sophomore. That's something he'll have an opportunity to work on over the next couple years to perhaps develop a little better release on that throw. Yeah, 6 foot, 108-pound sophomore. So we'll see how his development is in the next 2 years, but he's not worried about that right now.
Well, this punt going nowhere. Didn't even make it to the first down marker. It's been all Zionsville in this one, as they are going to get great field position, already leading big 35-9. And they're taking over at their own 47-yard line.
Yeah, and here we go with Michigan City once again. Not only do they need to stop at this point, I think the defense needs to come up with a turnover. They need to take the ball away. You know, some type of fumble or interception near midfield, perhaps even put the ball in the end zone themselves defensively to get the ball back to their offense. That might be what it takes if they're going to have any chance of getting back into this game. As we get the inside handoff, and that ball goes to Hanson Hinshaw. Might be the first time we called his name today.
Definitely is.
5'9", 184-pound junior takes the ball for about a yard, and looks like he's going to remain in the backfield. I'm sorry, it's also Luke Murphy at quarterback for Zionsville, so I'm not sure if they're that confident going second strings that yet. Obviously,
I'll tell you,
Murphy can handle the job. He's like
no
the first
doubt.
string himself.
He actually, as you mentioned, had twice the amount of completions and pass attempts. So if there's a second string guy anybody in the state feels as good about, it's probably Luke Murphy. He's under pressure, and down he goes, taken down from the side by Cornell Branch.
And that was Hinshaw the play before, only his 19th carry on the year. But one thing you notice there is his inability to pick up the blitz. You know, I commented earlier in the game how nice of a job Banker did in a similar situation, and a little more inexperience there for Hinshaw, unable to pick that up as City came with a lot of pressure, and 3rd and very long now for this Eagles offense.
And if you're going to have any chance at all, if you're Michigan City, if you allow Zionsville to somehow pick this one up, they can really control the clock and take even more time as we're starting to approach 6 minutes to play. Whistle. And I think we're going to get a delay of game as that comes from the back judge.
You know, and I talked about at this point, City's defense needs to come up with something. They're going to need to force a fumble, get an interception, some type of turnover, maybe even take it to the house to have any prayer. Zionsville is not going to get carried away here. There looks like, as we saw there, they're going to keep the ball on the ground. We know it's Hinshaw. It's not Bankert at this point. Don't know much about Hinshaw other than the stats I see. But, you know, handing the ball to Banker, he always had the speed to break one at any point. I think they're going to be happy here running the football, bringing their punt team out for the first time today. At this point, it's just don't make any major mistakes to give Michigan City any type of hope in this ballgame.
On 3rd and long, and everything opens up. And it's going to happen to the end zone maybe. Murphy in a foot race says he is caught from behind by Kenan Tucker, but he had that first down yardage. They needed 20. He got them all, and he's got them first and goal.
You know, Sam, you've heard this saying, you are what your record says you are, or stats don't lie. Luke Murphy, 42 carries on the year, -3 yards. And then you look at the run there on the RPO, and he was able just to run right up the center of the field. I don't know what I'm looking at here anymore.
Sometimes it feels like those statistics lie to you, doesn't it?
You know, it's like, are they? You wonder, football coaches tend to overthink everything, and they're always worried that everyone's watching. Who knows if what they put on paper is real? We're from the region. We're from Northwest Indiana. We don't get a chance to see Zionsville play. But some of these guys are looking much better than what their stats show.
On first and goal, it's Henshaw inside the 5-yard line. He'll set up second down. Yeah, it's sometimes you look at some of these stats, and then like we had last week and now this week too, where the lead backs who are not just the lead guys, but leading carries and have 700 more yards than the closest guy, and they're nowhere to be found. And I know we're currently living and playing in a world where people could be ruled out for games based on things that are out of their control. So that can be a factor in some of this. You never know. But it has been one of those things where you're like, you're right, what am I reading? Here's play action, wide open, touchdown. In the flats, it's Gunnar Hartwig, the tight end, who's got 6 more for Zionsville.
And it's not like, we all watch college football on Saturdays and the NFL on Sundays, and these announcers are watching film of every game that those teams played. They know everything that those teams do, all the tendencies, all the in and outs. We don't get that luxury to see Zionsville football. We're going by what we see on paper. Paper tells us these are straight drop-back passers, yet we've seen 2 plays, one by each of these quarterbacks, Abity and Murphy, that prove these guys are pretty darn good athletes, and they can run the ball as well as any running quarterback we've seen this year.
No doubt. That is no doubt. Here's Vinatieri again, and he has made another point after 6 of 6. Only blemish on this Zionsville offense was a missed field goal earlier. Otherwise, they have just been right on the money on everything. You're watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
Rush on Main, home of the beef, Chicago Style Eats, Northsiders, The Loop, Windy City Chicken, Chicago Dogs, The Combo. Holy cow. Watch all the sports action at Rush on Main. Let's go Eagles.
Hey, Indiana. Let's clear the air about vaping. Glue, rat poison, paint. We all know these products contain poisons like formaldehyde, arsenic, and lead. And these are just a few of the chemicals you'll find in e-cigarette vapor. Let's clear the air, Indiana. Don't puff this stuff. Visit don'tpuffthisstuff.com to join the fight and spread the word.
Just under 5 minutes left in this third quarter. It's been all Zionsville tonight. They are looking pretty good to be moving on and heading down to Indianapolis potentially next week. And if they do, they'll be playing at Lucas Oil Stadium, I believe, on Friday. The final game on Friday. We're doing the 1-3-5 on Friday and 2-4-6 on Saturday. As Tucker returns it almost out to the 30. They'll spot him at the 29. And Michigan City will take over with 4:42 remaining in the ball game. And again, we expected a close one. Everybody across the state, I think, did. The great John Harrell, who does such a great job with his side on boys and girls basketball and football in the state of Indiana. Really unprecedented coverage that people do not see anywhere. But a great job by him. I know we mentioned Gage Bankert's brother earlier, who is not able to watch or be here tonight. He's working, and we'll get you a look at him as he is on the job. Great folks in Zionsville, Rush on Main, sponsoring our broadcast tonight. We appreciate them. Told everybody watching in the restaurant as they go to the rent on the sideline. Again, bracketed and incomplete. Here's a good look at Gage's brother, who is working tonight, and we appreciate him. This is Cole Bankert, who is working tonight. You see him right there. And thanks to Johnny Vargo, the owner of Rush on Main, a former Griffith graduate, who is got him working tonight. Appreciate everybody watching in Zionsville, watching here in Michigan City, all throughout the state on IHSAA TV. It's dedication. Right there. You're still on the job. You got to make the money, of course. Got to keep the businesses open.
Absolutely, but still supporting his brother.
Loren almost came up with a great catch off the bobble, but quickly third down. Yeah, no doubt about it. You're finding a way, right?
You know, and that's with the IHSAA network, and that's what allows you to do. You know, 15 years ago or so, however long it was, if you're not at the game on a Friday night, you know, you're out of luck. You're listening to the radio, hopefully, you know, relying on people who are there to give you updates. But, you know, technology has come a long way, you know, so we're able to bring you these games, you know, to brothers, you know, on the job, still able to follow along. And hopefully, I'm sure he is enjoying the telecast. Maybe not enjoying the two of us, but certainly enjoying the outcome of this ball game so far.
I just always assume they're not. Bush, he's got a receiver open in the flat, complete, and a nice stiff arm to make sure first down was picked up. That time by Owen Davidson. A flag is sitting out here just inside the 40, and Zionsville pointing like this is going to come back.
Well, we've certainly enjoyed Gage Banker today, and I'm sure we're all in agreement on that.
Michigan City is
maybe everyone outside of Michigan City, but what a tremendous performance he has put on. And, you know, again, we go by the stats that are in front of us, and it looks like Colin Price is the go-to guy with 226 carries on the year. He's not playing today. You know, Bankert, who has been a key guy all year as well, but has to step up, and I think he did last week as well, and steps up this week as being the lead guy, and again shows that he would probably be the dominant running back on pretty much any other team in the state. He is that good, and looks like he's about to lead Zionsville to their second straight trip down to Indianapolis.
And we were told, as far as Colin Price is concerned, that he may have a leg injury. Mentioned a hamstring potentially being tight, cold night, so we'll see if he comes back. Hatch getting loose, and he is gone. You're not going to catch him. Amarian Hatch has been the offensive star. When there's been big plays for Michigan City, it's been number 20, and he's got a touchdown.
Yeah, and I've talked about the unorthodox throw of Tyler Bush. It doesn't mean it's not effective, and when he gets time in the pocket, he delivers a great ball, and he hits the speedster Hatch in stride, and he does the rest when he gets the ball in his hands. If he's got to step on a guy, he's going to turn that into 10 steps as he did there. And, you know, if there's any slimmer of hope, you know, Michigan City at least puts points on the board and probably set up an onside kick. I think that's what they're going to need to do is, you know, they haven't stopped the Eagles yet today.
See if they're going to go for two as well. I think they're setting up and will. As Gio Laurent will work out of the quarterback spot. See if this is just a design run for him. They bring Hatch across. Fake it. Laurent keeps it, and he has nowhere to go. As Zionsville did a nice job to make sure they stacked up the middle. And bring him down, and the two-point conversion is no good. 42-15 Zionsville. With the lead after the touchdown by Hatch. You're watching the IHSAA Champions Network. Presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by JED TV.
I'm Matt Wolford, president of the IHSAA Foundation, and we need your help. We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to IHSAAfoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
Michigan City, maybe some life as they got a touchdown, unable to come up with the two-point conversion. And they're still down big here at home, trying to find what they have been unable to find all night, which is a defensive stop. Zionsville has been nearly perfect offensively. The only time they got a stop was when Vinatieri missed a rare chip shot field goal.
So weird to say that name, missing the field goal.
I know.
Every time I'm trying not to laugh.
You don't say it too often in this state or on the East Coast either. Traditional kickoff, sideline, and I think Firestone thought it might bounce and go out of bounds, so he picks it up back at the 10, and he is brought down before he can reach the 20-yard line. So the worst starting field position by about 8 to 10 yards for Zionsville, and it hasn't really been an issue where they got the ball. It's been no problem for them to take it to the end zone. And if Michigan City wants to have any sort of prayer to get back in this, obviously, like we said, coming out of the halftime break, Tim, they have to find a way to get a stop. And they've had both chances in this second half to do so. And on 3rd and long, the quarterback is taken off for big runs.
Yeah, well, the quarterback does something that we talked about that he hasn't done all year long. You know, I'm sure surprised Michigan City as well, which is why they sold out going for the run on that play. But again, I think Michigan City's going to have to find a way to turn this team over.
Here is Bankert. No, excuse me. That is Hinshaw. The starting quarterback, Abney, has returned, but Banker not on the field for this drive still. Nice run on 1st down for Hinshaw as he picks up 9.
Yeah, he about broke a tackle there, you know, where the ball lies. Otherwise, he about took that one to the house. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a heavy dose of Hinshaw, at least on this drive, if not the rest of the way, as Bankert is still getting a little rest the last 2 drives, and hopefully that's all it is, and there's no injury over there to be concerned about.
2nd and short here, as we're now under 3.5 minutes remaining in this 3rd quarter. Abney will keep it. He was pulled down as he was able to stay on his feet, though, and pick up plenty of yardage. Only needed 1. He's got the 1st.
You know, you got to lead this big. You already got 1 banged-up running back in Colin Price, who they're hoping to get healthy for next week. No need to take a risk out there with Bankert and try to have 2 guys potentially banged up heading into the state finals next weekend. So you got a 3rd guy capable of doing it. You got a big lead. Let Hinshaw get some of the carries here, and make sure you keep Bankert healthy on the sideline.
Fresh set of downs with the ball at the 37-yard line. You can tell now Zionsville really taking their time, trying to keep that clock running. As again, the one guy who's been able to get in the backfield, Jahari Branch, takes down Hinshaw after a yard.
Yeah, Branch has been in the backfield quite a bit today, doing all he can to slow down this powerful Eagles offense attack. It's going to set up a 2nd and 8. We'll see how aggressive Zionsville is here on this play call. If they're willing to put the ball in the air, I'm guessing it's just going to be another running play. Perhaps they break something, as they've shown they're able to do, you know, when they're forced in these situations.
On 2nd down, they will try the run again. Hinshaw near sideline, pushed out of bounds at the 44-yard line, and a 3rd and a long 3 coming up.
I must say, as I was talking that last play, I misspoke. You know, I was thinking maybe I was talking as if it was 3rd down. So obviously you want to run the ball there, set up a 3rd and short. You got a few more options here, but 3rd and very manageable, probably another running situation. If not, bring on the punt team and pin Michigan City deep, prevent them from getting any kind of life.
Roy Richards trying to figure out this Zionsville offense. His defense normally so well coached and very talented, unable to find any sort of stops. 3rd down, Abney, pressure up the gut, and they stopped the play, but not before Abney was hit on it, and a false start is the reason.
Well, that was our boy Branch in there once again, putting pressure on the quarterback. That was Jahari Branch, as well as Cornell Branch delivered a little shove, perhaps a little late in the back of Abney on that one. But either way, they're going to get an offensive, it's going to be a false start on Zionsville.
I'll tell you, a lot of these names we've called out. Branch, one of them, still eligibility following this season for Michigan City. That will be, I'm sure, the silver lining if they're not able to pull a huge comeback in this game. Branch, a sophomore, so is Tyler Bush, the quarterback.
The running back who didn't play today, Jaden Hart, just a sophomore.
Mm-hmm. That's 3 pretty good players. Here comes pressure. Abney, they set up the screen, and that was almost a disaster as it hit the head of one of the offensive linemen. And thankfully, if you're a Zionsville fan, fell harmlessly. But now if you're a Michigan City fan, this is the worst thing that you can see. The guy we just talked about, Branch, is laying on the ground, and he is in distress. And the way he's acting, hopefully it seems like it might just be a cramp. So they will give him some medical attention. That will allow us to step aside. 1:47 on the clock. As you are watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
You're good at basement basketball.
We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
So Branch able to get off the field under his own power. And now for the first time today, mark it down at the 1:47-minute mark of the third quarter. Zionsville in punt formation as they kick it away. Laurent is down there as it will roll to him. Returnable potentially. Gio Laurent starts back upfield as he tries to stay in on this sideline before being shoved out of bounds. Did a nice job to turn that into a pretty decent return as a flag comes flying in well after the play. And we'll see if this will tack on to that return or move Michigan City back.
We're either going to have a late hit over there on the sideline, or somebody was doing a little too much talking over there, but the officials are right on top of it, so we're going to wait for them to clean that one up. But a great return right there. Michigan City continuing to play hard. They're capable of breaking these long runs at any time. And because they can score so quickly, that keeps some hope alive that perhaps, at least in their minds, they can get back in this ball game. Zionsville has they've taken their foot off the gas a little bit on their last two drives. You know, they're focused heavily on running the ball. They were able to break that one when it looked like they were just happy to run the clock out and get the other score. But you've seen some substitutions. You've seen Bankert leave the game, you know, as they're trying to keep guys healthy. And it is going to set Michigan City back 15 as you get the unsportsmanlike call. So somebody over there was saying something that they shouldn't have said.
So instead of having the ball across the 40 at the 42, or even being into Zionsville territory, you're all the way moved back right around where Gio Laurent picked up that football and started his return. Just over 90 seconds left in this third quarter, as the Wolves of Michigan City at least trying to make this interesting. Bush, pressure coming from his right, delivers on target and complete near the first down marker. That's his tight end, Owen Davidson. And they will move the chains for first down.
Great play design there. You got three receivers in the area. You know, they all broke off in the different directions, and they were able to open up a nice little space right there for the completions. The ball sits now about the 38-yard line.
Approaching 1 minute to play in the third quarter. Bush now in the pistol formation. Rayceon Anderson behind him, who now moves to his right, has been quiet, especially by his standards. He picks up a blitzer as Bush is hit, and they will say incomplete as the ball came flying out just as he was ready to throw it. The hit from Otto Kyler, and now Bush is slow to get up as he is helped to his feet by his teammates.
Yeah, that's scary anytime you come from your blind side, and Otto came there flying untouched and just delivered a heck of a blow right in the back of Bush as he went to throw the football. Fortunately for Michigan City, the arm was moving forward So that was an incomplete pass and not a huge turnover, giving Zionsville the ball in excellent field position.
So second down as the clock stops for a moment after the incompletion. And this is a time, if you're Zionsville, you might be able to tee off a bit. You know Michigan City wants to score quickly, and usually that will mean trying to do so through the air, as they've got trips to the right of the quarterback, Bush. They rush 4, clean pocket, throwing left, double coverage, and out of bounds, incomplete.
We've seen that quite a bit today for this Michigan City offense. The Zionsville defensive backs have done a great job of funneling the Michigan City receivers to the sideline and out of bounds. And countless times today, Michigan City has taken that shot, and they've even completed a few of them, but the receiver was already out of bounds when he caught the ball. So great design by the Zionsville defense to funnel those guys, knowing the speed and athleticism that they have, keep them to the sideline as to where, hey, the only way you're going to complete this ball is if you're in the white, and no harm done.
Well, the 2 big plays to Hatch have come right on the hash mark. Some more on the middle. Bush trying to use his legs as he takes on a tackler there on the sideline, going right after Owen Rossell, the senior linebacker, who met him with pretty good force.
Yeah, Rossell covers a lot of ground out there for the Zionsville defense. We called his name a lot, especially in the first half. And he does a good job getting sideline to sideline from, I believe, his middle linebacker position. So great job there, getting the hit, forcing the 4th down as the officials are desperately trying to get this clock wound, as it has not started yet. 41 seconds to go as he was clearly tackled in bounds, but now Coach Mason will go ahead and call a timeout just to make sure he gets this play right. It's 4th and 6. You know, we've said it a lot here in the second half about if they want any chance to stay in this game, and it might be at the point now where they don't really have a chance. But again, 4th and 6, you're still looking to execute. You're still looking to finish strong. You're clearly going to go for it here in this situation. So he wants to make sure he gets this one right. He's not worried about conserving timeouts for the end of the game.
Adjusting the clock. Looks like they've taken it to 30 seconds. So some time off. And then Phil Mason took that timeout to avoid a delay of game as his quarterback took a while to get to his feet. So 4th down here, about 6 yards to go. And Michigan City trying to pick up a first down late in this 3rd quarter. See what Coach Mason's drawn up.
Got 3 receivers here to the near side. You got Hatch over here. That's the guy they might try to have him just step back and get a little bubble screen. He'll have 2 blockers out in front of him. That's what they decide to do, and there it is.
And a 0 blitz, and it's the perfect call as Amari and Hatch is out of bounds across midfield to the 41-yard line.
Not quite like Tony Romo, but I love, you predict something enough, eventually you'll get it right. Even he misses them every once in a while.
You got to get a little more raspy. And you got to use unbelievable a couple of months.
There you go.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm a fan. I am a Tony Romo fan, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, big time.
He makes the game fun. He loves football, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just out there. He's a fan. He's just enjoying himself out there.
Bush throwing complete. Laurent makes the catch. He'll be right at the first down sticks at the 31, and another first down. Maybe try to get one more play in this 3rd quarter as it ticks down under 10, and it doesn't look like that will happen as Bush and a couple of guys over there, Trace Simmons with Phil Mason. So that will take us to the end of our 3rd quarter. 42-15. Zionsville a quarter away from heading to Indianapolis as long as they can hold on in this one. You're watching the IHSAA Champions Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
School football fans, welcome back to Friday night, to pure spirits, to pure sports. Welcome back to high school football.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty. And I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Friday night. This is Indiana high school football. This is your IHSAA. High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirit, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Start of the fourth quarter, first down after the completion to Gio Laurent from Michigan City, trailing in this one 42-15. Here is Bush throwing sideline, incomplete. They want a flag and not going to get it, as it was out of the reach of his intended receiver, Trey Simmons. And excuse me, I said it was a first down. They spotted him just short at the end of that third quarter, so a third and about a half a yard coming up.
Well, the defensive back, I think that was Wyatt Seller, was nowhere near Simmons on that play. Simmons had him completely beat to the outside, unfortunately just stumbled. So nowhere near anything there for a penalty. He was wide open, ran a great route, just unfortunately lost his footing. And those things happen.
They give it on third and short and stood up and probably losing yards. Rayceon Anderson, that's the kind of night it's been for him. Has not had much room to run with, and it'll be an official complete full yard here on fourth down now.
Yeah, lost at least a half yard, if not a full yard on that one. So it is going to set up a 4th and 1. You know, they tried to catch him off guard with a quick run up the middle, and they might try to do something similar here. But you see Hatch, there's nobody covering Hatch right now. It's going to be an easy bubble screen.
They completed to him, and he will pick up the first down as he's finally swarmed inside the 25. And you're right, they wanted to bring pressure, I think, but nobody picked up number 20.
Well, I believe it was Ethan Krause. No, it's Aiden Crine, who I believe is the linebacker out there. And he was kind of roaming around, maybe unsure of himself as to where to line up. But regardless, he was 15 yards off of Hatch right there. And, you know, you need to be jam coverage up on Hatch, otherwise they're going to throw that bubble screen all day long.
Another first down for this Michigan City offense. They will give it to Hatch, now out of the backfield. Amarion trying to cut it back to the middle as he is pulled down by Christian Barth after he picks up 7 yards.
Yeah, and the speed of Hatch coming out of the backfield, unfortunately, he's not a running back. You know, as you look, he's only run the ball a handful of times this year. That's what they were hoping to get out of Jaden Hart today, that explosive run out of the backfield. Hatch has run the ball, because I just looked at the wrong spot. But, yeah, 26 times on the year, so sorry for that delay. But that's what they wanted out of Hart. You just can't convert Hatch and make him be that go-to running back, you know, that speedster out of the backfield, where he's more elusive when he catches the ball on those bubble screens or running down the field.
First down at the 11-yard line. Yeah, Hatch is listed officially as a running back, but his size and stature make him more of a gadget wide receiver. Some out of the backfield, he just probably wouldn't be able to take a lot of the pressure of getting hit that much. They'll throw it sideline. Loren makes the catch. Touchdown as he caught that between two defenders and pulls it in for his second score of the game.
Yeah, and City continues to battle here as they pull within 21. 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. There's a great job by Bush throwing that ball up. Like you said, double coverage or so there in the corner of the end zone. As you're going to take a look at the replay here. Off the play action fake, and yeah, just fired that up, double coverage, and he just went up there and was able to get it.
Michigan City will go for two again. This time they have their quarterback Bush out there. Last time Gio Laurent took the direct snap. Bush moving right, trying to find somebody open, throwing too high as he was looking again for Laurent, but that time was triple covered. So Michigan City down 21, 10:06 to play trying to get a stop here and see if they can make it interesting. Zionsville trying to put this one away. You are watching the IHSAA Champions Network presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by JED TV.
It's 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. You have two choices. Option 1, take 2 nanoseconds to reach over and put on your seatbelt. Or option 2, decide it's too much work for a Saturday and don't put on your seatbelt. As the seatbelt alarm continues to sing the song of its people, you roll your eyes. You're just going down the block, you'll be fine. You take a turn to the left, and that's when you see it.
Just wear your seatbelt. It's an easy way to save your own life. The Indiana Criminal Justice Institute wants to remind you that choices matter. Click it to live it.
So Michigan City trying to battle here and keep this one interesting. And they're probably a stop and a score away from doing so, but the only thing they're fighting more against at this point, the deficit's obviously huge, but the clock is already a factor with 10 minutes left. You've got to think you need, of course, 3 possessions. And how can you get probably at least 2 stops and an onside kick to make those happen? They'll go short here on the sideline, trying to come up with this, and a good play by Firestone. If he didn't grab that ball, if it would have bounced back a little bit further, I think Michigan City may have come up with that. But a big play by a guy who's had himself a great ball game.
Jeremiah Newsom, like he was right there, ready to pounce on that ball if it's not secured there by Zionsville right away. So, some people may question that, and you like to see the traditional onside kick, but, honestly, how often do you see the traditional onside kick work? Sometimes you fake like you're going to do it, pooch the ball downfield, and you let your athletes just run and chase. And if that ball takes the right bounce, if you're a Michigan City team, you had an opportunity to bounce on that one. But credit Zionsville for covering that ball up at the 25-yard line and now forcing City to be aggressive and probably have to go for some strips.
Here's a give and a big hole across the 50. Down to the 30 and 25-yard line is Bankerts, who had really not taken a bunch of carries in this second half outside of the opening drive. And he's right back on the field making things happen.
Great job by Tucker sticking with him stride for stride, able to chase him down from behind. Banker just unable to shake him there at the end. But credit Tucker for not giving up on that play. And that's all you can do with Michigan City at this point. Yeah, it's a big play. It doesn't look good. Well, you need to force a strip at some point anyway. They need to go in there, be aggressive. You need to get a guy coming in to wrap up and someone else coming in there and punching at the ball.
On first down, another give. This is Hinshaw, who has gotten a majority of the carries. He takes it for 5. For the folks locally here, just was told Andrean won 17-14 for some of the people in the area who might be watching. Congrats to Coach Skinner in the 2A level. They will be heading to Indianapolis next Saturday.
And you're just seeing a lot of the depth of this Zionsville team. Already down 1 running back today, and now we're looking at, I guess you would call him their number 3, as Hinshaw is getting a lot of the carries here in the second half and proving he can carry the load just as well. So, yeah, I love that depth here if you're an Eagles fan.
Abney off the fake will keep it himself, and he is walloped. Taken down hard that time by James Fleming, but after he already had the first down to the 11-yard line.
Didn't mean to go John Madden on the air there, with a little sound effects. Sometimes you just can't help yourself. Nice big hit coming in there on the outside.
See it again here as Fleming will come from the right, and good form tackle. Quarterback Abney able to get right back up. Now looking to the sideline for the play as he gets back into formation with about 10 seconds to snap it here. He's got Hinshaw to his right now with 4 seconds. Settling with 1, and they're going to let them get that off as the clock had hit 0 right as they snapped it basically. And Hinshaw has nothing on the carry.
Yeah, most officials will let that slide right at the 0 to let them get the snap off. You get to this level, they may be a little more precise with it, but very good job nonetheless by Zionsville, just milking every second they can. Obviously, they are in no hurry. The clock is their friend. They're going to walk that thing down to about 1 second before they snap it. Even if they do score here and extend this lead, they don't want to give Michigan City any time or hope whatsoever.
On second down, to give up the middle into a mass of humanity as Abney was going to come in to try to help his running back, Bankerts, but they blow it dead after forward progress was stopped at the 9-yard line.
Yeah, and I was surprised at as long as Abney kept that ball in Bankert's stomach and then pulled his hands out there at the last minute. That's the one thing you don't want to do in this situation. I prefer just a turn and make clean handoffs, because that exchange, we've seen it way too often with RPO-heavy teams where that ball can pop out. And that's all Michigan City needs. The way the football bounces, that ball bounces up, scoop and score. Who knows? You have an opportunity.
Bankert looking for blockers, does not have any, as he is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Good job by a couple of those DBs to come up. Jeremiah Newsom. And good to see as well that Shahari Branch is back in there.
Yeah, absolutely. After a scary-looking injury, he missed very little time before he stepped right back out there on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, the way he was laying, you were thinking something serious, but then they started to stretch, so thankfully it looks like it was just that cramp.
And we talked a lot about Newsom in the pregame, as that was a focal point of Coach Richards earlier in the week. Talk about that's his leader on defense, and that's the guy they use to key on the threat of the opposing team.
Vinatieri on for a 26-yarder. He missed a 27-yarder early. Everything clean on it, and his kick is right down central as he knocks it through to make it a 24-point advantage for Zionsville. Most importantly, they took about 4 minutes of clock off there, and they've got themselves a big lead, 6 minutes away from Indianapolis. You're watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jet TV.
You're good at keeping the car clean. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
Field goal from Vinatieri, 26 yards, as he has split his opportunities on field goals, been perfect 6 of 6. When you're a place kicker and you've got 6 field goal attempts, it's always a good night. I'm sure he'll easily forget about the one he missed. As Zionsville is just under 6 minutes away from going to the state championship game right by their home in Indianapolis. Touchback here by Vinatieri. We'll take the ball out to the 20-yard line, and that's where Michigan City takes over on this offensive possession.
Yeah, Zionsville about to make a return trip down to Indianapolis. You talk about the gauntlet that you have to survive typically down in the Indianapolis area. Just to get out of your sectional is no easy task. They got by McCutcheon October 22nd, 45-0. Escaped Harrison of West Lafayette 42-21 before then heading on to beat Kokomo in the sectional championship 42-17. So 3 fairly easy wins for them. And then a big win over Fort Wayne Dwenger last week, 35-14. So they really haven't played a close game in the sectional. Their last loss, the last game of the regular season in double overtime to 6A Fishers, 49-46. So Zionsville getting hot at the right time, as they'll be heading down to Indianapolis. Well, they are in Indianapolis. They'll just be heading back home. And it's always nice when you can, always thought how weird that is, or that must be. It's such an adventure for teams in the region, Northwest Indiana, where we're from, when they get to head down 65 to Indianapolis, make that drive. Is the experience any less exciting for a team from Indianapolis that just has to sleep in their own home and travel 15 minutes? I always thought about the dynamic there.
After the false start, this pass is batted down. And maybe fortunately, as Simmons was covered up pretty well in zone coverage. Second down for Bush and company.
And, of course, I think I have heard of some teams in the Indianapolis area who stay in a hotel the night before anyway, whether it's to soak in the experience, or just probably more importantly so the coaches know where the kids are the night before.
Well, that became an NFL thing for a long time.
Yes.
Where they made the home team would stay. I don't think they do that anymore, if I'm not mistaken. I don't believe that's the case. But they used to have home teams on Saturday night would stay in a team hotel in the city near the stadium. Bush firing low, and Laurent can't come up with it.
I haven't heard that they don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
Perhaps they do, but I know that definitely was a thing.
Mm-hmm. I just haven't heard it concentrated on as much, so I don't know if they gave that up or not, but they used to be a big thing. I remember the Bears locally near us here in Northwest Indiana. The Bears closer than the Colts are, of course, to us, but a lot of my friends who are Bears fans, I believe at one point I had a buddy whose dad worked at the Peninsula Hotel in Chicago, and I believe at one point, I could be conflating a couple of things, but I thought the Bears may have stayed there. I know there's a popular place for A-list celebrities, the Peninsula, very nice hotel. Far too rich for where I work, I'll tell you that much, as Bush scrambles for about 6 yards here, and on a 4th down, we'll see if Michigan City will go for it or punt this ball away down 24 with just under 6 minutes.
Well, having a friend in the know is usually the only way you know those things, unless it's just by accident.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's obviously something they don't advertise very much like the hotel here right down the street that I forgot the name of here in Michigan City. As soon as you get off the expressway to come here to Ames Field, is traditionally, until they remodeled a couple years ago, and maybe they're back there now, but visiting teams to Notre Dame would stay here in Michigan City.
Really?
Typically practice here at Ames Field the day before the game.
I did not know that.
And there is I remember back in the day, 1993, for those of you who remember the huge game of the century between Florida State and Notre Dame. Florida State stayed in that hotel right down the street from us. And I know Michigan City, I've seen Pete Carroll there a time or two.
Really?
A buddy of mine, we go up to the Notre Dame USC game quite a bit, and he's the one who had told me about it, and we would leave early. We would stop off here and go to the gas station next door, and then occasionally walk across the street. They wouldn't let you get too near it. But, yeah, you would see the players loading up on the buses, so they stayed just far enough away, I guess. Of course, they get a police escort all the way in.
Yeah. So the question is, who's more famous then when it comes to that? Is it Pete Carroll and company like that, or is it Jennifer Aniston, who stayed at the Peninsula, I was told, and remember they filmed that movie. What was that with
oh, yeah.
the Chicago movie, The Breakup or something
break,
like that?
It was The
Vince
Breakup.
Vaughn.
Right.
So that was what it was from. Here's great play by Bush. And then his receiver just couldn't hold on. Amarian Hatch, who's been so great tonight, as Bush did a great job of extending the play, and they turned it over on downs. And that will lead to a large number of the crowd here leaving. It is a frigid night, and sitting in these meadow bleachers, I can imagine, has been quite uncomfortable. But a lot of the folks stayed until just right now, and now will make their ways towards the exit. Zionsville, time ticking towards the celebration.
Yeah, they'll have a long trip home today, 2.5 to 3 hours, but after a victory, that drive will seem like nothing as they head back, and who knows, maybe some of the folks even got a hotel here and perhaps are staying at the one I just mentioned. Not sure if Notre Dame has a home game tomorrow or not. Again, I'm not sure if teams are still doing that since the remodel.
Georgia Tech, right?
Yeah. It'd be interesting since the remodel. I'm not sure if they are still staying there, but I am going to kind of glance at it on my way home here.
What was that hotel?
That's why I'm trying to think. It was not a Hampton Inn. I'm trying to think of the name of it, and I know if my buddy Coach Oman is listening on the radio, he's screaming at me right now the name of the hotel because he knows all about it.
If he was a good buddy, he'd text
you. He's not one who texts very often, but we'll see. He does listen once in a while, so we'll see if he lets me know the name of the hotel. I don't know if it was a Clarion. Does that sound right? Maybe down the road there. But they played North Carolina a few years ago, and we stopped in the hotel, and it had been after the teams had already left. But all the meeting rooms were still labeled, special teams meeting, offensive line meeting. So that was kind of cool to see as we just kind of walked through there how everything was organized as the hotel was still vacant as the team, they rent out those entire hotels, especially ones that size, for themselves, and they keep the commoners out of there. But might be the Clarion, if I'm not mistaken.
So Zionsville next week is looking like they're going to be looking for a state championship for the first time since 1996. They have played in the state final game in 2000, lost a heartbreaker in overtime in that 2000 game. And then most recently, of course, last year, lost in the state final to Cathedral. Staying on his feet, getting into the end zone for the touchdown is Case Anderson. So Zionsville showing that they go way down the depth chart in running backs with stars everywhere, and Case Anderson adds his name to the list of running backs to score a touchdown in this semi-state game.
You know, I've coached at a lot of 2A schools or smaller schools in my career, and I remember, I was a coach at North Newton, a 2A school, and I used to have to drive by larger schools such as Lake Central on my way in from my drive in Highland. I always used to think, man, there's kids who get cut from these teams. If you're talking like basketball or football, kids who are third or fourth string players that if they went to my school, if they went to North Newton, they might be first team All-Staters. Who knows?
For sure.
They don't get the opportunity, and that's because the point you just made about how deep they're going on the depth chart here, this kid, if he was at a 3A, 4A school, might be a top name in the state. But sometimes it's just the luck of where you are geographically as young man from Michigan City remains down on the field. Hope it's nothing too serious, but I can't see a number yet. He's moving his hands and arms out there right now. Looks like they may be concentrating on
looks like his right leg.
Yeah, his one leg is bent up there. But you just never know where these stars are going to come from, and you'll hear stories about guys who are second stringers at some top programs that will still get college scholarships, just because the coaches see the athleticism in them and what they can make out of them at the next level.
That is senior defensive lineman Cornell Branch, who needs some assistance to get off the field, as he is definitely shaken up.
Not the way he wants to end his high school career. Sorry
sure.
to say him, limping off, but still, as he is really struggling, it looks like they may need to set him down and reevaluate this. I was just about to say, anytime you see a guy at least being carried off the field, it's a lot better, obviously, than being left off on a stretcher, but I think he may have been one of those, hey, get me off this field, I want to walk off on my own, but it doesn't look like he's putting any power on that leg, as he was really hurting there those last 10, 15 yards or so to the sideline. So hope for the best there for that young man, the senior, ending at least his high school career. Not sure of prospects of some of these guys. Anybody who really wants to play college ball, there's a lot of opportunities out there, whether you look at NAIA or D3 level especially. So hopefully if that's his hopes, that future is still bright for him.
Terry's on for another point after, and I'm not sure what the officials were waiting for. Everybody seems set, and now Jahari Branch will come running on. I think they'll allow him to do so because of the injury delay. And Vinatieri, who has knocked all of his PATs through, 6 of them, made a field goal, looking to be 7 for 7, and put the finishing touches on a victory here as they are going to head back to state. How about a team last year that went 7-6 and made it to the state final? This team after tonight will be 9-5 and headed back to Indianapolis. You're watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by Jed TV.
Rush on Main, home of the beef, Chicago-style eats, Northsiders, The Loop, Windy City Chicken, Chicago Dogs, The Combo. Holy cow! Watch all the sports action at Rush on Main. Let's go Eagles!
Just over 4 minutes left as Zionsville has been in control pretty much all evening, and definitely in this second half. They walked out of the locker room with a 28-9 lead and put 2 more scores on the board and really have never looked back. And they will be a definite challenge for their opponent next week. Returnable kick here. Michigan City looking for one last spark maybe, as Tucker has some blockers down the sideline, still on his feet, but this is probably going to come back. Looked like there was a block in the back as there's a flag sitting, in fact, 2 of them, both around the 30-yard line.
Yeah, typically that happens when you change directions the way you do, and the blockers get caught up thinking they were going to block one way, and sometimes it's no fault of their own, except the offensive players are now turning around, running the other direction, and you get kind of stuck blocking someone in the back. Sometimes officials will let that go, but when it's an obvious play right in front that could have affected the outcome there, and the blocker doesn't let go, they got to call that one. So blocking the back right there at the 30-yard line is what we're going to have. Great call here by the officials. Very experienced crew that we always get at the semi-state level and beyond. And these guys, a lot of these guys, we don't know how far they went last year, the point system, but a lot of these guys are hoping for an opportunity to officiate the state finals. That's big for these officials, just like the young men out here playing. The players want to reach state. The officials want to do the same thing as well. So they're out here working hard, doing what they got to do. Hopefully they get an opportunity if that's what they want and are eligible. Hopefully they get the opportunity to get a game next weekend as well in Indianapolis.
Zionsville will rematch against Cathedral next week. Game they lost last year by a couple of touchdowns. Cathedral, we know how good they are. Final last year in that state final game was 46-28. It was a Zionsville team who has actually lost a decent amount of games the last couple of years. Hatch on the carry here to the 25, but they've lost 6 games last year and 5 this year, 11 in the last 2 seasons, but that's the caliber of the schedule that they play, and they're going to find themselves in the state championship game now 2 years in a row.
Yeah, 2 years in a row, ending the regular season with a losing record of 4-5, which is just unbelievable.
They went 2-5 in their conference.
Yes. But I think we talked about
crazy?
that last year when we did the Hobart-Roncalli game, that, the Circle City Conference had 3, maybe 4 state champions last year?
Yeah, it's insane.
It's just insane, and you get, because of the way, Indianapolis is the center of the state, obviously, and you have some teams going north, some teams going south. Every once in a while, you get a state championship matchup of 2 conference opponents.
Right.
And it's just funny how that works out, but, the IHSAA has to draw a line somewhere. And sometimes it just has to split a conference in half, and, just a gauntlet that those teams have to go through down in Indianapolis, and the amount of talent down there.
Zionsville plays in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. Westfield, Brownsburg, Hamilton Southeastern, Fishers, Franklin Central, Avon, Noblesville. Avon normally a decent program in years past. They went 1-9 this year. Here's a big shot, and Loren sliding, can't hold on. Nice ball delivered by Tyler Bush.
That's the difference in some of these ball games. How many times has Laurent had to check up where that ball was just a little short, just a little out of his reach, where Bush just quite wasn't able, for one reason or another, and a lot of times it's because he had a Zionsville defender in his face, and that ball just falls just short. Otherwise, especially on that one, Laurent, he's running to the end zone for 6.
No doubt.
But, those conferences down there, and the amount of talent and the gauntlet that they have to go through just to get through conference. And then sometimes they get a break when they get out of the sectional. Finally, when you get to play a team outside the Indianapolis area, there's years when the regional or the semi-state is one of the easiest games that they've played all year long.
So true.
That's just something that we can't imagine most years up here. I mean, the Duneland Athletic Conference is a fairly tough football conference as well, and it has a lot of success, a lot of rich history, but it's hard to compare anything to what those Indianapolis teams go through. And it's kind of like, we live here in region, Northwest Indiana. We're closer to Chicago, as Sam alluded to earlier. The Chicago Catholic League, would be the closest thing that we can relate to that these Indianapolis schools go through. We're talking about the Mount Carmels of the world and the St. Rita's and some major powerhouses that have produced just number of talented players in the NFL throughout the years.
So the seasons of Michigan City and Maryville here locally is going to come to an end. Westfield, who we mentioned in that Hoosier Crossroads Conference, is going back to states. 2 years in a row, they have ended the Pirates season in semi-states. And 2 years in a row, Zionsville has ended a region team semi-state season as well. Valpo last year and Michigan City this year. Andrean, who we mentioned earlier, the other team from the area, if anybody locally was watching tonight, they were victorious, 17-14. So they will be the lone Northwest Indiana representative in state next week. Zionsville heading back to that. Hatch shifty as he is guided out of bounds after he picks up the first down.
Yeah, Hatch continuing to play all the way to the end here. Is Shifty down the sideline. He was looking to break one once again, which he's capable of doing at any time. So, yeah, here in Northwest Indiana, we had a lot of potential teams as the state tournament started that we thought had an opportunity to get downstate. Of course, a couple of them had to go through each other. Lowe and Hobart, neither one of them was able to make it this year. Michigan City and Valpo had to go through each other, and those were our two best hopes in 5A. And like you said, maybe a little bit of an upset last week. I think most people probably would have thought Valpo was going to win that game. Valpo won big over Michigan City earlier in the year in their first meeting, 49-28, before falling in double overtime last week.
Simmons able to get away from one tackle as he's across midfield. About 30 seconds left in this one. We'll see if Michigan City wants to run another play, or I think they're going to say that's it. Gio Laurent, Phil Mason embraced. The senior, his career's over. And some of these seniors, it'll be tough for them to walk off the field for this final time. Amarian Hatch, standing right next to his head coach, is about to do the same thing. Tip of the cap to these Michigan City players. They had a great season. Zionsville, as you see them, celebrate back-to-back years. Congratulations to their head coach, Scott Turnquist, his entire staff. His third season, and in two of them now, he is gone to Indianapolis, headed to states.
Yeah, that's not too bad, is it? And you look at his record, we've just talked a lot about that. He was 20-18, so he's 21-18 right now in 3 years. You're just barely above 500, yet you're making your second trip to the state finals. But that's because of the tough competition he plays, and he gets his team prepared in the regular season, knowing, hey, we may have some battles, we may have some tough losses, but we're going to be ready come tournament time to make a run. And 2 years in a row, they entered the tournament with a losing record and once again make it to the state finals. So great job by that team, great job by that coaching staff without their top running back, without their starting quarterback Abney for the majority of the year to produce the way they did and reach the state finals. A lot of credit to the coaching staff of the Zionsville Eagles.
Well, Tim, I appreciate you all year. We weren't sure if we would be asked by the state to do the game this week, and we appreciate Heath Shanahan and everybody at the IHSAA entrusting us with the broadcast up here. We hope we made it at least tolerable and watchable for the folks in Zionsville, Michigan City, and all across the state of Indiana. But a lot of people involved in athletics at the high school level, and you are very much coaching girls basketball, doing the games with us weekly, official before that, football and announcing sports and doing everything you do, so we appreciate that. Our crew as well, Nick Hedrick, Josh Beaudry. In these weeks, Nick has been outstanding doing different games. So has Josh as well. This weather not kind to the guys. We get to sit in a nice booth, and it's warm for us. It is nice in here, looking through a window, not being outside, and they do a great job And Sonny Santana was great today. Ben Tamara all year long for us. So we appreciate your work, everybody's work. There's not a lot of money to be made in this gig, but there's a lot of fun to be had. And I know we had fun all year long, even in the games that were lopsided. We turned them into entertaining, I think. At least we were entertained. So I appreciate your work all year.
Yeah, we had some interesting conversations in some of the games this year in the fourth quarter, but, it's all in good fun. We just hope to entertain you a little bit. It was great to be back out here on site after being in the studio the last couple of weeks. My first trip out here to Ames Field, and the hospitality has been tremendous. They kept our bellies full. They take good care of us here, and this is a beautiful site. I can't believe this stadium's been around as long as it has, and I've never made the trip here before. Very fortunate. My first time here gets to be in this beautifully spacious press box. So
absolutely,
it's been a lot of fun. I've appreciated being here all year long, and hopefully I'll be able to talk to you guys again very soon.
No doubt about it. Thanks to Craig Shaman, the athletic director, everybody else here for their hospitality as a representative of the IHSAA and IHSAA TV. For, again, Nick Hedrick, Josh Beaudry, Sonny Santana, my partner Tim Fedler, I'm Sam Michaels saying we hope you enjoyed the broadcast. If you're a Zionsville fan, we know you enjoyed the outcome. Big credit to Michigan City on a great season. Best of luck to Zionsville next week as they will take on Cathedral in the 5A state championship game. You have been watching the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and powered by JED TV.